Oh, I should have tested that first. Oops. Here we go. Here we go.
Best return ever.
Best return ever. Here we go.
Why is there a dog in the frame?
Gracie.
Welcome to Trivial Debates.
We are live.
Facebook says we're live.
We are live.
All right.
Yes, that's right. Welcome to another edition of Trivial Debates, the ultimate pulp culture challenge. We're having some awesome new debates for this episode. We're back after 4 years of hiatus. And in this episode, our panelists will be judged and scored on their arguments for facts, passion, and creativity. Our panelists this week will start in the top right-hand corner of your screen. For those of you who are watching on the video version, coming to us, maybe the great Pooh of them all when it comes to Trivial Debates, the king of the hill, the champion of champions, the ever-salty Jody Simpson.
I'm still getting the ever salty. It doesn't matter what podcast I'm on. I'm always the salty one.
Hey, I pumped you up for this one. Come on.
I do have to give you credit for that. Yes, it was a good intro. Thank you.
Yes. Jody, you have a 50% win rate, which is the highest of almost anybody.
I probably have the most appearances as well, though, so I don't know if that's skewed a bit.
This is true.
Yeah.
In the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, joining us for another edition of Trivial Debates, he's back, your friend and mine, Chris Seymour. Welcome, Chris.
Down there.
Yes, he's here, and he's got some great answers to these questions. And
Wait,
what's my win rate?
What's your what?
My win rate.
Your win rate? It's 0%.
Too low to calculate.
It's coming at 0%.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Now, coming into this arena again with a 41% win rate is Jeff Mader, my brother, who gets no special treatment for being a family member.
That's the Intercontinental Champion. Let's go with that.
He's the Intercontinental Champion to Jody's World Champion. Perhaps the Ultimate Warrior will take down Hulk Hogan today. So, for those of you who don't know, go ahead, Chris. What?
Might be the underdog who takes it. You never know.
It's unlikely.
For those of you who don't know, this is how this show works. There will be 6 rounds. Each round is worth 1 point. And then once we get down to a speed round between the top 2 panelists, so one of these lovely gentlemen here will be eliminated after those first 6 rounds. We'll have a speed round, which will go through the same categories again, but much quicker questions, and it's a much quicker debate. We want people to be passionate, but not personally mean to one another, or at least as much as possible. That rule never seems to apply, though. Keep in mind, you can also skip to a new debate by looking at the time indexes in the description or going to the battles that interest you the most. We are going to be back up on iTunes again soon, but everything we've ever posted is on our Facebook and our YouTube page. If you ever want to go back and look at anything, we'll have a new audio feed going through Anchor pretty soon. So whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening to our audio version, all links and information can be found in the description. And make sure to check out our other podcasts, which I'll plug at the end of the show. So, with no further ado, we are going to get into the debates themselves. So, every round will start with a ding ding, and we'll go through the different panelists. We'll ask the questions. So, we always start with the movie round first. And for the movie round this week, you know what? I should put this right up on the screen. What am I doing here?
Well, you're not used to a video version of this show.
No, this is new for me. We're doing this new video version.
First
one, but here. So we're going to go into the movie round. Let's get that going.
Eventually, we'll get the question up.
Here we go.
Ding ding wasn't very loud, but
yeah, it was pretty crappy. You probably should have tested that first.
Is that better?
That's better.
No, not really.
It was louder.
That's a little bit better.
Here, I have it turned down. You guys are getting full ding 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 now.
There you go.
Yeah, you want a ding ding ding? You're getting a ding ding.
Well, if you want us to ding, we need to know the ding.
part of the hallmarks of this show, Dave.
I know. Okay. So we're going to the movie round first. And since we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, all the questions are themed around something to do with that. So we're going to start.
People just haven't heard enough about this.
No.
I don't know. Hey,
Yeah.
they're going to say, you guys came back during the pandemic and you didn't do a pandemic show? That seems like a miss.
I don't think anyone would say that, but
You're also assuming there's any sort of demand for this show.
There's so many people who are watching it.
You know what? Okay, the best movie about an outbreak. I think it's at least topical at the very least. We're going to start with Jody on this one. And Jody, what was your answer to this question?
I picked the obvious choice. Outbreak.
Outbreak.
I win. It's in the name.
Okay, you got to give us a little more than that.
All right. Well, anyway, anybody who's not familiar with this movie, it's a movie made in 1995. It's about army doctors that are struggling to find a cure, basically for a deadly virus that was spread through California, like a California town. And it was brought to America by a monkey, which was Patrick. What was his name? Can't remember the guy's name that brought it over.
It's not looking good so far, Joe. You don't know
Whatever.
much.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's insignificant. He dies. Not to ruin it. But this stars Dennis Hoffman, Rene Russo, Morgan Freeman, a whole bunch of other stars as well. It was a very highly praised movie for its time. It doesn't have the greatest of marks on in IMDb, for instance, compared to some of what I would think would be some of the other contenders, which I'm not going to bother mentioning just yet. I'm sure they'll come up. The movie was great because it really it's one of the first movies I remember that really took this type of topic and actually ran with it. There were others before, obviously, Andromeda Strain, various others. But this was kind of the mainstream one where you saw grade A movie actors in it. It was really top-notch performance. The thing that I really loved about the movie, actually, I saw this in theaters, and it's really known for one of the first scenes where people start getting infected is actually in a movie theater. So people start coughing in the movie theater. All of a sudden, everybody's getting this virus, and it's just starting to wipe out the town. So then the army comes in, and they have to figure out. And there's a whole bunch of other things that happen. And for instance, do they have the cure already? Is this is the military behind stopping the cure? Are they going to wipe out the town? Stuff like that. It comes to the point where they might actually nuke the town. A whole slew of things are happening. It's a very energetic movie. Doesn't stop. It just keeps kind of going. There's no real drag points in it.
I remember the
I think
monkey.
it's a great movie. Yep.
I remember the monkey.
The monkey is brought over.
And did they save the day in the end?
Patrick Dempsey, that's his name. Sorry.
Patrick Dempsey of Grey's Anatomy fame.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. Yeah, Patrick Dempsey is the...
Dreamy, I believe they call him.
Oh, yeah, that at one point or another, yes. But he brings a monkey back from a facility, brings it back from Africa into America. He's going to sell it to a pet store owner, which actually kind of correlates with some of the other things that are going on, like the Tiger King fiasco that's going on as well.
Yes.
With exotic animals, stuff like that. So overall, I just thought it was a really good movie. It was one of those movies where if you were in the theater at the time when you first see the movie and they start talking about the people in the theater getting infected, it kind of creeps you out a little bit while you're watching it. So it's a pretty cool movie that way.
All right. It's a strong contender for the great Outbreak movie, as it has the title. It's got you have the name brand at least. Okay, let's go to Chris next. Chris, what movie did you pick about an outbreak as sort of being the best movie to cover this subject?
Well, I went a different route on this one. I went with Gremlins. And if you've never seen this movie, what the fuck is wrong with you? First of all, it came out.
I'm a fan of the movie, but just disclaimer: you're gonna have to convince me this counts as an outbreak.
Yeah, that's where I'm going on this.
Well, here's why it's an outbreak. Because as you know, there's certain rules to the Gremlins. Like, they start out these cute and fuzzy little things. Everybody knows this movie. So,
the Mogwais?
The Mogwais, yeah. Of course, they're cute. They're awesome. They kind of look a little bit like my dog.
Right.
And, after you feed them after midnight, they change into these gremlins who want to kill you. And
there's a bunch of rules, right? There was they couldn't
feed them after midnight.
Couldn't feed them after midnight.
Don't get sunlight will hurt them, kill them. Right, bright lights.
Yeah,
don't get them wet.
Bright lights will kill them. The outbreak started when they got fed after midnight. If that was never done, then they would have stayed as Mogwais, and the movie would have been boring.
Right. Okay, but why is it an outbreak?
Because it's soon as soon as these gremlins start terrorizing the city, like one of them jumps into the damn pool, and then there's like thousands and thousands of them. It's an
Right.
outbreak of gremlins.
It sounds more like an infestation.
It's an outbreak of gremlins, Dave.
It's an outbreak of gremlins. Okay, well, you know what? You're not dead in the water yet, but I think I love the movie, but
It is,
how does it compare to some of these other outbreak themed
Well,
movies? I think it's a little outside the box, perhaps.
an outbreak doesn't necessarily have to be a disease. There could be an
Can we
outbreak
get
of
the Webster's definition of outbreak here? Just
It could be an outbreak of mosquitoes. Like if you have a whole bunch of mosquitoes, that's an outbreak of
A
mosquitoes.
sudden or violent start of something unwelcome, such as war, disease, etc. So he is right.
Okay. You know what? I was skeptical, Chris. So, okay, so it counts as an outbreak by the
I'm fighting
definition.
for you, Chris.
That certainly
New York-
doesn't mean it's
New York
the
City
best
has, like, an
movie.
outbreak of rats.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
The
Okay.
question is clearly, what's the best movie about an outbreak?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, and we're saying that the Gremlins
Gremlins
disaster
are technically an outbreak.
that hit that town, whatever the town was called, I think it was called
Right. Does that mean it's the? He's not really arguing why it's the best movie.
No, I haven't heard anything about that yet.
Well, he said, "What the f is wrong with you if you haven't watched it?"
Yeah,
That was
that's it.
that-
That's
Everybody-
the extent of his argument.
Like
Mhm.
True.
I don't think I've ever even watched Jody's movie, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never watched it either, Jody. Yeah, I've never.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
You should.
So,
It's a good movie.
it can't be the best if nobody's seen it except for you. And maybe Dave, I don't know.
Okay.
But
Jeff,
they had
let's-
to contain the outbreak at the end. Like they set them all on fire, and it was a fucking great ending.
Also,
okay.
let's be true here. They slaughtered a bunch of animals.
Animals.
It's-
Yeah, endangered species, really.
They are. They're
Yeah.
very rare.
In a movie theater.
That's true. It was in a movie theater.
I actually prefer Gremlins 2 to the first movie in a lot of ways. But Jeff, how did you approach this this question? Which movie did you pick?
I picked Philadelphia,
Philadelphia.
That's interesting.
which is
yeah,
so
go ahead.
it's not necessarily a disaster movie. It's more about a certain character. I believe his name is played by Tom Hanks.
His character is named Tom Hanks, I believe. Lawyer Tom Hanks with AIDS.
Andrew Beckett. Yeah.
Andrew
So
Beckett.
that's the character's name. So basically, the movie's about this high profile lawyer that basically gets found out that he has HIV/AIDS, and basically it's mainly about the court case. And he ends up hiring Denzel Washington. His character's name's Joe Miller, to defend him. Who's kind of like a homophobic, kind of doesn't understand that part of society. And it's really about those two characters kind of coming together and starting to like understand what this epidemic, this outbreak is doing to people, and the legal ramifications. It really deals with a lot of heavy subjects. It won 2 Oscars, just so to kind of counter Jody's argument that it's a much better movie than Jody's movie.
It's got more awards, more accolades.
More accolades.
It does.
Tom Hanks won Best Actor. Bruce Springsteen won Best Original Song. Neil Young was also nominated for Best Original Song. It was also nominated for Best Writing for a Screenplay and Best Makeup. So it definitely got a lot of accolades, but it also, like, for me, I hate disaster movies. I don't like them. Like, for the most part, like I hate like Armageddon or like
Volcano.
The Day After Tomorrow.
Right, but we're talking about like a movie with an outbreak, which usually is
Okay,
what I think of as disease.
I was getting there. Okay, like, all right. So there, you could also compare that to like movies like Contagion or the Day After Tomorrow. 28 Days Later or 28 Months Later. All these movies are usually that are about outbreaks. Are usually disaster oriented of what it does to the world, to society. Whereas this is more of a commentary, which is what I appreciate more about this movie. It's the only movie that really hit me when I first watched it. Like it's a very moving movie, and that's what we watch movies for. For me, we watch it to be moved, but also understand things that maybe we didn't understand before.
When we have like Bruce Springsteen singing "Streets of Philadelphia."
Well, that's not the part. That's not the song that gets me in that movie. It's actually at the end. It's Neil Young's song. His song. That's the moment in the movie that gets me. But yeah, that's if I was gonna, the question for me is what's the best movie about an outbreak, and that the outbreak being obviously the HIV epidemic in the 80s. That would be my choice.
Well, AIDS started in the 60s technically, but yeah, the movie is obviously about the 80s.
Yeah, and like you probably don't even remember as much, Jeff, but like AIDS was a very taboo subject for a long time, and it took a long time for sort of this movie was in part of like bringing a lot of awareness around.
It's a fantastic movie. Like Philadelphia is a great movie. I completely agree with him on that. Is it what I would define as a outbreak movie? Not really, because we touch into the fact that obviously he has this disease, but it's more about like the prejudice and the racism against him.
Yes.
It's not really about the outbreak all that much anyway. Obviously, the undertone is AIDS, but it's about all the stuff that gets drawn from that. It's not really about the outbreak itself. So
it's been a while since I've seen Philadelphia, but are there any other characters who have AIDS in that movie?
I believe his boyfriend does as well, who's played by Antonio Banderas.
And they never actually have any physical contact at all in the entire movie. Method acting wise, not very good. But
so I don't know, Jeff. I when you first picked Philadelphia, I thought it made a lot of sense, but now that I'm thinking about it, if
you know what, great movie, and it is about. It takes place during that type of scenario, but it's not really about it.
Okay, I'm gonna. I have to defend this movie for a second because I could have picked Rent, which has multiple characters that have AIDS. That doesn't mean it's a better movie. That doesn't mean it's a more.
But is it about the outbreak?
Yeah, but like, it's
more about a one story, how it affects one particular life.
What's wrong with that? Why does it have to cover 10 people?
I guess in my mind, I think when I think of an outbreak, I think about how it's like affecting many people and how it spreads. And
but like we know already that AIDS was an epidemic and it killed many, many people. So why does the movie need to cover multiple people?
It's best movie about an outbreak. It's not a movie about one guy who gets it.
We do have to move on. So I'm going to ask you all. I'm like, okay, so let's maybe start with Jeff. Okay, Jeff, of Gremlins and Outbreak, which do you think is the better Outbreak movie?
I've never seen Outbreak. I've seen Gremlins. So I can tell you that I like Gremlins. It's a fun movie, but it's not. Both of these movies, from what I understand, are not actually about real life. Outbreak is not an actual disease. It's a made-up disease for the movie, correct, Jody?
It was loosely based on Ebola, but yeah, it's a fictional disease. It's obviously a fictional movie, but
yeah, so it's kind of like Ebola. Okay, so all right,
but it's still about an outbreak. So
right, and then Gremlins is like basically a Disney movie, is it not? Like, it's kind of like a
done by the Henson,
kind of like a horror movie in some way.
Horror
comedy. It's also a Christmas movie. It's kind of it's. I wouldn't put Gremlins into one category. It kind of fits neatly into many categories. I love Gremlins
movie, and I think you'd be.
If I had to pick from these three movies just from rewatch value, I would say it's Gremlins. But
we're not arguing rewatch
which is the best movie about the subject, about an outbreak. I don't know if it is. Okay, Chris, of Philadelphia and Outbreak, which is the better Outbreak movie?
Well, I've never seen Outbreak, so
Jody's have seen it.
Jody's at an unfair advantage here. Like when I have to decide, I'm gonna have.
It's the best Outbreak movie of all time. That's what Jody's telling us.
It's not my fault I haven't seen it.
But
I have seen it, so
I'm also thinking, like, is HIV really an outbreak? Because even in the 80s, though, like, sure, a lot of people got it, but we knew how to prevent it. Like, we knew what steps to take.
At that point, we did, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
It was still an epidemic, though.
My movie was about the origin of an outbreak and how to treat it and how to get rid of it. It's the entire movie is about an outbreak. Like there's no denying that.
Same question to you, Jody. Between their two movies, between Gremlins and Philadelphia, which movie do you think is the better movie within the theme that we're trying to define it under, which is an outbreak movie.
If I have to define it by the actual, textbook definition of what an outbreak is, it's actually Gremlins. Because again, Philadelphia, fantastic movie. I'd watch that movie 20 times over Gremlins any day. Great movie, beautifully done movie. But it's not really about the outbreak. It's about the struggle of a man who happens to have something that was an outbreak at one point. But it's I would have to go with Gremlins, unfortunately.
Okay, final rebuttals before I make my ruling.
Nope, I got the name. Like, I don't know how we can really go any further on this.
I would just say my movie shouldn't be discounted because it's about a single character. It's still about an outbreak. It's still about a character experience an outbreak that actually happened in real. That actually happened in real life. So both of your movies are fictional, whereas my movie is actually about reality.
Was this the best movie that was a non-fiction movie?
Okay, but that's again another semantic.
Movies by nature aren't. So.
Wow, this is a tough one, guys. Jody, even though I think that Outbreak is a great contender, I have seen the movie, and I can't get past the fact that it's just not a very good.
We're not judging based on all the movies in the world. We're judging about the 3 that are on this panel. So you have to give me that.
Right.
Hate to break that to you.
Chris, what's working against you mostly is that your movie is very loosely into this theme of outbreak, even though it's technically
You've actually proven it's actually better than Jeff's scenario, technically.
Yeah, and Jeff's is mostly because I think it's more of a personal story, although it is about this social cause issue that had sort of more lasting social ramifications. So, so even though as I'm trying to say Jeff's is weaker, I'm kind of pointing to the fact that it's actually stronger.
It's a stronger movie, but not about an outbreak.
And I think that that's telling. And I think I would have to give this win to Jeff. So this round goes to Jeff.
This is such bullshit. But anyway. All right.
Remember at the beginning you said, because he's my brother, he gets no
special. Yeah, well, clearly he did.
Yeah,
we've already proven this. We've already set the precedent now.
You know, it's how it goes. Okay,
we're moving it now and give it to Jeff or what?
Yeah, we gave it to Jeff. Jeff's got the
whole
point.
thing. We'll just give it to Jeff and we'll go drinking.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Right. TV round. The question is, what's the best television show set in a hospital? So, as we have all our front line healthcare workers out there doing a great job for all of us, and
thank God,
helping with the COVID-19 epidemic, which we're all living with. I think it's good to celebrate shows that are set in hospitals, and boy, are there plenty to pick from. And we got 3 strong contenders here. So we're going to go reverse order this time. So we'll start with Jeff, and we'll with Jody. So Jeff, I know you're a big fan of hospital shows.
Did you see the comment in the comments right now?
No, what did you say?
Kevin Millard says the only movie that won was the movie not about an outbreak.
That's right.
Fucking garbage.
But in fairness, Kevin, mine was the only movie that was actually about something real.
It wasn't about what was real.
It's not about that argument anymore. We're on to the hospital TV round.
That's fine. We know there's obviously
that's history. That's history now. Here. We're going over to the hospital show. So, Jeff, what did you pick for the best television hospital show?
Okay, here's the deal. I hate all hospital shows for the most part. I mean, they're all either about some sort of stupid romance or usually about or a very serious medical procedures, which I don't care to watch because I don't care about that. So for me, I picked MASH from 1970, like the 70s MASH show with Alan Alda, because it's about the war, so it's not set in a stupid hospital in Seattle. And it's also, it's more of a comedic-based show. It's not all serious all of the time. So if you're going to pick a show about a hospital, like give me something that I could rewatch over and over, and at least enjoy on the fact that I don't care about like Dr. Sexy marrying Jenna or whoever was on Grey's Anatomy next week, and I can't stand those shows. So for all those shows, to me, are disqualified immediately. If any of you argue for them, I will take you down. For me, it's if you're gonna do a hospital show, do give me something that is rewatchable, that is just not so serious and just dramatic all of the time. It's annoying.
There
Anyway,
are some damn serious moments in MASH, though.
oh yeah, there is, but it's not all of the time.
One of my favorite shows. So
Yeah, it's kind of like MASH is kind of this weird dramedy series, which is, you know, funny and also extremely serious and dedicated to what it is. Okay, MASH. Is there anything else you want to sort of say in your opening statements about MASH?
Not really. I mean, it's kind of before my time. It's the only reason I picked it was because my first choice was taken, and so I had to pick another show, and I literally went through the whole list and said to myself, I hate all of these shows, so I'm going to pick the one that I know was a good show from the 70s, and I know was kind of a different formula than that got basically introduced once General Hospital came out, and then they started doing ER, and they started doing all these shows, the same formula that I can't do it. They're not for me. I get people that like them, that's fine, but I cannot abide by them.
It's a strong argument. Okay, moving over to Chris. Chris, what do you think is the best show set in a hospital?
Well, the only I'm kind of with Jeff in that I don't watch shows like ER or I don't even remember the other ones you mentioned because I don't watch them. So I chose House.
House MD.
Yeah, House MD. Probably was Jeff's other choice. Maybe I took his answer. I don't know.
That's correct.
So much for the similar reasons. Like it's not always about like love triangles or this doctor marrying this girl. It's about a fucking crazy doctor who has to take Vicodin just to keep himself sane, and he finds like unique and interesting cures to cure his patients. Like he's a doctor who thinks out of the box.
He's also a bit of a jerk, as I recall.
That's the thing. He's not really a well liked doctor. I think he's well respected by I don't know if you watch a show. He's respected by like Cuddy and Wilson.
I'm a big House fan. So
also loosely based off Sherlock Holmes.
Well, it is. That's why there's like House and Wilson. It was
right.
There's like Holmes and Watson. There's House and Wilson. So that was a good dynamic of the show as well. But I just liked how he had his team of I guess they weren't even fully fledged doctors yet. His team was kind of
they were residents, but not like they hadn't done their
they were kind of like they were still learning. They were in the learning process, right?
Yeah. They would almost fully doctors or something.
That's what made the show interesting.
it was a teaching hospital.
Hospital, yeah. Right.
Because they would come up with all these different scenarios of what the cures could be, and finally they were barely right ever, and House always figured it out. And
he was like, it's not lupus. That was what he would always tell us, right?
Yeah.
They always thought it was lupus, and it wasn't lupus.
It's never lupus.
It's amazing.
All right, Jody, what did you pick for this?
So let me tell you, Mr. Mader, I have a pick that has already come up twice. Both my colleagues here have already mentioned ER. All right, the winningest show about a hospital on TV ever.
It's won more awards than any other.
Let me tell you. Okay, this is number one. This is a show that ran from 1994 to 2009, 15 seasons. Now, some would say that might be a Simpsons curse. Maybe not great all the seasons, and I would agree. However, they've won 155 awards. 155, nominated for 367.
What?
That's one a day per year, David. You still got a couple extra.
How many seasons did they have?
15. 15 seasons. Now, anybody who's not familiar with this show, obviously it's about doctors who are in a Chicago hospital. Now, the entire show is about diagnosis. It's about treatment. It's also about the lives of these doctors, what the pain that they have to feel sometimes when they lose a person, or a massive accident happens, pandemics happen, whole bunch of stuff. They cover the entire thing. Okay, this show is so iconic that both of my colleagues mentioned it. Both of them. All right.
That's a good.
This,
That's a good
this my
point.
friend, is the winningest show on television when it comes to hospital.
Okay, the quick counter argument. ER
Sure.
only won 1 Golden Globe. MASH won 8.
Golden Globes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, MASH. I'm not debating that. MASH wasn't a great show, but it is the most winningest show, and the winningest show meaning all the different awards that are available. I could go through the list, but honestly, we don't have the time.
What else about ER should we think about?
It's a gritty show. A lot of the times it can be very dramatic. It could also be funny at times. We had George Clooney, which is, he was known to be a guy who could not only be drama, but he could also be comedy. His roots were in Roseanne. So like, come on.
Right. But
This
that
guy
show
knows
made him
comedy.
famous, right? Like he wasn't
What's
famous.
that?
He wasn't like famous from Roseanne. Like
He wasn't big famous. No.
like not the show, as I
Roseanne
recall.
helped him get that. The show itself was developed by Michael Crichton of Jurassic Park and various other stories. It was a nice gritty real drama. It was kind of the one that kind of started the whole medical thing, other than it's set in an actual full residential type hospital. Obviously MASH came before it. But I'm not debating MASH at all. I think House is a terrible choice. But MASH itself, great choice.
You just said
wouldn't say
you
it's
said it was a
winningest.
good show a minute ago. You said
What's
it was
that?
fine. You said MASH was a good show.
Oh no, I say it's a great show. It's one of my favorite shows.
You said it was a
but when
terrible
I
choice.
what's that? No, I said House
He
was a
said
terrible
House
choice.
is. He doesn't
House
like
is a
that.
terrible choice.
House is a terrible choice. It was a terrible show to watch. It was one of those shows that you could watch and then 10 episodes down the line, it would almost be the exact same scenario again. It was very recycled.
You can say that
at
about
least it felt
ER
that.
too, though, no?
I would imagine there were some episodes for sure.
Like ER,
but so-
even though
so should
ER had
MASH. MASH had
ER
episodes
had
like that.
15 seasons, but maybe ER didn't deserve 15 seasons.
Yeah, how many
I would
times
say
can-
they deserved probably about 12.
How many times can you show the same shot in ER of somebody being taken out of an ambulance, being wheeled into the hospital? Okay, we got to figure out what's wrong today.
How many
It's
times
always-
How many times can you stand in surgery and have the same joke by Honeycutt and
oh yeah, I know.
like,
That's why I
come
hate
on, dude!
hospital
Like
shows in general, but-
that's irrelevant. We're talking about the greatest show set in a hospital, and clearly it's ER. You guys even said that. You brought it both
Well, I
up.
didn't say it was the greatest show.
You both listed it. It's right up there.
Andrew Bolton's making a case for Doogie Howser.
Get out of here.
I wouldn't say that was set in a hospital. though.
MD.
It would definitely not have won here today, Andrew Bolton. Also, on Chris's point with House, it was pointed out that they were in a fellowship, those three junior doctors that worked under House. But no, it was later clarified by Ashley Millard that they were doing fellowships.
Yeah, they weren't in a fellowship. If they were in a fellowship, they'd be Christian.
Which is the more technical term. So just wanted to get, this is an interactive show, more so than it's
I
ever
believe
been.
that
here
was
on
just a
Trivial Debates.
misspoken
So
thing.
people
I don't
from
think-
the audience
I don't think
can now
Chris
make
needs to
comments.
be chastised for that.
Yeah, okay, I will say I like House a lot more than ER. ER is so goddamn serious. It set the template for all
what it
of
is.
what I hate about hospital shows.
Right.
Just
But it
'cause you hate
also is kind of
doesn't
the
mean everybody does.
franchise hospital show for that reason. Like there would be no Grey's Anatomy in Chicago.
That's more of a reason not to
open.
like it. That's more.
Yeah, but
And-
these are just because you don't like something doesn't mean it isn't the best show.
Well, for me, it is. I mean, I'm
Well,
arguing
that's
it's
true.
an argumentative
Okay.
show.
All right, fair enough.
Now, Jeff, yours is a military hospital, a makeshift hospital.
Oh, mobile hospital, yeah.
But they that's not saying it doesn't qualify. I'm just it's a little bit.
That fully qualifies. It's still a hospital.
They're still hospitals. Yeah, they're field hospitals.
But can you tell me that MASH is better than House?
I can tell you that MASH is at least different. It's at least different that it's not set in a hospital. It's not the same regurgitated plot every single episode, which House and ER do. They both do that for sure.
You don't think MASH isn't regurgitated?
It is a little bit.
How many more times are they going to pull one over on the old general there or whatever? Come on.
Absolutely, it was okay. First of all, I just want to say that most of these shows I can't stand. Even MASH, it's whatever for me. Like I'm arguing for it, but I have to because you set the question to be set in a hospital, and I can't stand any of these shows. So if you don't want, if I'm disqualified, that's fine. But
Should be disqualified.
I just think that that if I were to pick between House and ER, I would pick House because at least House has some comedy in it, whereas I don't find ER really was able.
ER
to
has a lot of comedy in it. You obviously didn't watch it very much.
Okay. No, it's Scrubs. Yeah, see, Scrubs would have been my other choice over.
Yeah, we have no love for
ER.
Scrubs. Well, there can only be three answers here because we only have three
Scrubs,
debaters.
except for the last season.
The other one that came to mind for me was what was that one? Saint Elsewhere. Was that with Denzel Washington and Doogie?
Right.
No, Howie Mandel. Like
Howie
a
Mandel
million
was
years
in
ago.
it, and,
And Ashley Millard wanted to clarify that she wasn't correcting Chris. She was correcting us. So, Chris, you
corrected me. I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's how it goes. But yeah, I think Scrubs is would have been a worthy contender here because it wasn't about best comedy or drama. It was just show set in a.
That's right. Yeah.
I also think the show that Rob Corddry made I think it's called Children's Hospital or something like that. Again, it's a comedy. I think that's where these hospital shows thrive the most. I hate when they're serious about relationships.
Well, it's a serious subject. Anything that's happening in a hospital for the most part is a serious thing. You know, you have the occasional joyous things such as childbirth and stuff like that, but for the most part, like it's a serious environment to begin with. It's going to have to be a serious
Scrubs would be maybe an exception, but even I'm sure they had some levity to some of their.
Oh, there was some serious stuff in Scrubs, though.
I will give you credit, Jody, that at least your show is more about the patients than it is about the doctors. But that's for like the first 5 seasons. That show then
it does kind of go back and forth, yeah.
It became more Grey's Anatomy in the second half of its run, so that I don't know.
Chris, we haven't heard from you in some time now, so I would like to hear more from you. Now that you've heard Jody's answer on the ER, do you have a rebuttal to ER?
Honestly, Jody's good at picking things that I never watched, like his movie one and now his TV show one.
I'm sorry, I went with some of the most mainstream things ever.
Yeah, but I didn't watch it because it wasn't good. It doesn't mean just because it's mainstream doesn't make it good.
Well, I would say that all the awards it won would make that completely
I don't
inaccurate,
know.
But anyway,
I don't know. Why don't we read Kevin's comment over here? It says, "Doesn't matter how many awards ER won, it still sucks dick."
Okay,
well, I concur.
And you know what? We live in a world where Kevin has that opinion, and that's fine. Some of the stuff that Kevin watches, I think, sucks dick too. But
of these three
that's not the point.
shows,
it's not what sucks the most dick. It's the hospital.
Of these 3 shows, I MASH is before my time. I haven't watched a ton of MASH. I have watched a lot of ER. I have watched a lot of House. So I do have I am informed enough to sort of have my own opinion. But I'm on the edge with you two. I don't think Jeff's just been saying he hates hospital shows for the whole round. So Jeff's out. So it's really coming down between Chris and Jody here.
I don't want to win this round.
Yeah, you have done a great job of that. So I don't know. Like on the one side, we got Jody's got the show with all the accolades, the awards, the power. On the other side, we got Chris with House. House was definitely a fun show, and definitely a very different show than ER in its own way. But I don't know if I've heard enough from you, Chris, to pull House ahead of ER, because right now ER is winning, but not by much.
What about Hugh Laurie as an actor?
What about him?
You mean Hugh Laurie with the American accent?
That's the American accent.
Dude,
Jody had to do that.
Yeah, he had to do that. That's some fine acting.
They could have cast anybody in that role. It would have been still good. Sorry.
I don't think. I don't know anyone who's in it.
I don't know if I can agree with that, Jody. But
nope. You know what? I love Hugh Laurie. I think he does some great work. I don't think that's his best work.
Well, his best work was definitely that one with the mouse.
No, it was that one where he was in that music video for Annie Lennox.
No, it was this role. House was his best role for sure.
House is his iconic role for sure. Whereas
the fact is, my show
ER
had such an eclectic amount of things happen. The only thing that happened, it was a cookie cutter show. House. It was literally there's some sort of rare thing that's happening, and in the last second, he figures out what the fuck it is, and it's not lupus. That's really what it is. It's a cookie cutter show.
You could compare House very much so to Star Trek, because House is very much like where it starts off with a problem.
It's episodic. Yeah,
it's episode. No, but it's also like a problem-solving show. It's trial and error. It's very similar.
Sometimes
to
it just falls into his lap, though.
That's just my opinion. That's what I see from House. Whereas I find ER set the template of like these season-long narratives of who's in love with this person.
Well,
and
you're investing in the characters, right?
Right, but I don't care about any of those characters.
There are some people that actually consider it essentially a soap opera for people who don't like soap operas, because that's really kind of what it was, right?
Yes,
It was a serialized type of situation. But you didn't have to know everything that was going on. The first couple seasons for sure. Like you didn't really have to follow much of anything. You could just jump into any of them.
All right, I'm gonna have to make my ruling. The round goes to Jody with ER.
What the hell?
Can you explain why?
ER.
Can you explain why?
Just because Jody made a stronger argument than Chris did. Chris kind of just said his show was fun and he had a good performance, but you didn't sell it enough. I wanted to give it to you, Chris, but Jody just had way more to cite in terms of things that made it better, and he tore yours down effectively, even though I didn't agree with him. So kudos to Jody. Jody gets the round. So for those keeping track, we are now 1 point for Jeff, 1 point for Jody. Okay, so moving into the music round, which is a round where Chris does typically better. So moving on to music.
I'll predict this before it even happens. Oh, look, we just lost Chris. Chris picked a Primus song.
He did, but he changed it.
Too many puppies?
Too many puppies. I was going to start with Chris. This is a little awkward now that we've
well, I guess we'll just have to start.
He'll be back.
We'll move on.
He'll be back. Okay. All right. Well, this is the music round, and the question at hand is: what's the best 20-second song to help you wash your hands? A lot of people say it's the birthday song. Oh, here he is. He's back. Okay.
He was so afraid he disconnected.
Wait. Am I back now?
You're back.
You are now.
Okay. I don't know what happened there.
But now he's Kristen.
Oh, whoops. Here, I got to fix that.
Well, I had to leave this page and then come back.
It's fine. He can change it. He has that power.
There you go. Okay, so Chris, we just introduced the music round. What's the best 20-second song to help you wash your hands? Whatever jingle you can do, because obviously washing your hands is important right now, and that's a good tie-in for music. So, Chris, we're going to start for you. You changed your answer. So
must have been a Primus song.
If you want to, say what your original answer was, you can go ahead. But we will start for you on this round.
I'll tell you after, because I changed my answer because my new answer is way better.
Way better than a Primus song?
Yeah. My first answer was a Primus song, but then I realized it's actually not that good for washing your hands.
Oh, okay. Well, that would
so you pivoted once you made this realization that your cause was not just.
Yeah. So the song I chose is 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall.
Oh God.
The reason I chose that song is because first of all, everybody knows it. Right? Nobody.
How does it go?
Come on, Jody.
There will be points for singing in this round, by the way.
Oh, sweet.
Beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. One of those bottles happened to fall. 98 bottles of beer on the wall.
How the fucking song goes.
Well, why do you need all 99? You're not going to wash your hands for 99 bottles of beer, are you?
No, I'm not.
This
is why it's the best song, though, because
they'll have clean hands.
Let's face it. Everybody starts singing this song, like when you're a kid on the bus, going to school, going on a field trip, whatever. But nobody ever finishes this damn song. People, you get to like 88.
So you should never finish washing your hands?
No. I'm not done, Jody.
Okay.
So what I think is you should wash your hands at least 20 times a day during these times. So if we can go from 99 beers to 95, then we'll be done washing our hands for 20 seconds.
So you only need five bottles of beer will do, or 4 bottles of beer will do?
Yes. 4 or 5 bottles of beer will do.
4 to 5.
Then the next time we go to wash our hands, we can pick up where we left off. So it feels like it's a different song. We can start with 95.
Jason Doan wants to know, what the hell version is that you were citing?
Not the right one, I can tell you that.
That's the only version.
No, it's take one down, pass it around. 98 bottles of beer on the wall, you jackass.
Sometimes they fall. You don't know that. It's if one of those bottles should happen to fall, then you get less beer.
Isn't that Humpty Dumpty? Are you mixing up your nursery rhymes with your bottles of beer song?
No, and I like Jane's comment over here. You can read it if you'd like.
She says, I know that version that you're referencing.
We're looking for non-influencing of the judge.
And that's brilliant, Chris. Hey, this is the
And
neutral
she's
field
married
debate,
to him, so-
you know, I guess we have to.
Oh, Jane knows that version, so now it's legitimate.
Well,
Yes.
I
All right.
don't know. The audience has some influence here. You know,
It's a real version. If I was the only one that knew it, then I would admit that I'm making a mistake. If at least 2 people know it.
I think your mistake was picking this song, but
okay. I think you've said enough on the beer song, the bottle. Unless you have any other final thoughts before we move to the next.
I was just saying, like in the morning, you can start at 99 bottles of beer. Before you go to bed at night, you'll be at 1. Not only will you have washed your hands at least 20 times, you'll have a sense of accomplishment that you finally friggin' finished that song.
Okay. Yeah, but do you think that's gonna be fulfilling every day?
But
yes,
I can't even argue, Chris, because
that's
it's
how
so
stupid this is.
That I don't even have a counter.
I completely agree with Jeff Mader on this.
Okay, Jody, Jeff, whoever wishes to go first, maybe Jody, if you're ready.
Sure, I'll go. I picked "Lose Yourself" by Eminem.
Okay, again, not a 20-second song, I don't believe, but you're going.
No, but the chorus is exactly 20 seconds.
Okay, and the chorus go.
I'm not going to sing it, but I'll recite it if that's fine. You better lose yourself to the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Don't miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. And blah, blah, blah. It just keeps repeating. It's basically 20 seconds. So that is what the WHO recommends.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
catchy. People get it. They
can bob my
a lot
head.
of people know it.
Okay.
And 20 seconds is what's recommended by the World Health Organization to wash your hands properly. And Chris has mentioned that, of course, but that the song doesn't make any sense, especially when you have to divide by 4 and 5 to get his numbers correct.
Sorry that math fails you, Jody, and you can't divide by 5.
What's that?
I'm sorry, like some education system failed you, and you.
I just don't see the point in having to count and count and count and count. I can just sing a tune and be done. Like that's all there is.
We have a
to
question here from Jason to you, Chris, about yours. So it won't all show here, but I'll read it out. Wait, so not only do I have to wash my hands to a terribly annoying song, but you also want me to keep track throughout the day as to where I left off. Should I keep a notepad that says I'm now at 80 bottles left?
I just have to say, Jason, 100% accurate.
You're a bigger man than I, Jason. You actually came up with a rebuttal to Chris.
That's a fantastic rebuttal. He should be on this show. Let's get him booked.
Yeah, we'll get him booked in. Okay. Anything else you want to say about Lose Yourself, Jody?
No, I've already won. It's fine.
Okay, Jeff, what's your pick?
I picked.
Oh, we're gonna get sued, dude.
No time to talk.
Under 5 seconds.
Who the fuck wants to listen to Bee Gees like 10 times a day?
Because you're staying alive while you're washing your hands. You might as well listen to something upbeat, something disco. I don't want to listen to Eminem talk about how he.
You don't like Eminem?
Nah, I like Eminem all just fine,
really?
But I don't really want to think about him when I'm washing my hands.
Well, I'm not really thinking
much
about it.
rather
You want to think
about
about Bee Gees. You would rather think about
a real man.
Barry Gibb and
A real
Robin
man
Gibb.
like Barry Gibb, who has chest hair and a beard.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Listen,
why this one? You think that why do you think that people will stick with this one?
because it's more a universally loved song. It's about you're washing your hands to stay alive. It's right in the title, just like Jody's argument about Outbreak.
Can you give me the lyrics, the 20-second lyrics?
Absolutely. 1 second, I have them right here. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Music loud and women warm. I've been kicked around since I was born. And now it's all right. It's okay. And you may look the other way. We can try to understand the New York Times effect on men.
This is so stretching. It's not even funny.
This is going to be hard to remember, Jeff, all these lyrics. They don't roll off the tongue.
Brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody's shaking, and we're staying alive.
Are we still in the 20-second
Staying
lyrics?
alive. Ha, ha, ha.
This is like fucking an hour.
No, well, I mean, I'm not singing it as fast as the song.
So our audience has already commented on this, and they basically said this song's already taken for performing CPR. You know, both Jane Mader and Jason Doan, who happens to be my new favorite now, both of them have mentioned that this is a song that was already taken, and it's very hard to remember. I think I put that part in there. I'm just assuming that's what they mean.
Why is it the CPR song? Just convert it over to the Wash Your Hands song. That's all I'm saying.
But they're not performing CPR.
Jody, my question for you
How
is:
often do you perform CPR? I mean, really?
Not often.
The World Health Organization is telling you to wash your hands for 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You need a song that's going to help you fulfill this.
Yep.
Are you going to use Chris's 99 bottles of beer, or are you going to use?
No, I think I've already made that very
clear. Are you going to use Staying Alive?
Is the third option none of them? Because neither one of them, in my opinion, fit.
Or would you rather use the
all.
default one, which is the Happy Birthday song?
I would rather use the Happy Birthday song than either one of those songs. Staying Alive just reminds me of the reason why I'm currently washing my hands. Mm-hmm. My song at least says, you know, I get to lose myself in the music. I don't think about what's going on right now. I'm just washing my fucking hands and enjoying myself. That's what I'm doing. So why do I need to count beers on the wall? Okay. And do the math and keep track of where I am and staying alive. Come on. That's already being used for CPR.
Eminem's talking about blowing guys. He's like, you only get one chance to blow. I mean,
he's talking about reciting. Jeez.
Chris, rebuttal, Chris?
I wouldn't choose either Jody's nor Jeff's song. Like Staying Alive, I think this is probably the very first time that I ever thought about what the lyrics are. To be honest, like
I would agree with you on that, Chris.
I've never heard that song and thought, "Wow, hold on, wait till the chorus. I'm going to start singing this."
Go on.
It's a great song. I dare you. What number one?
Yeah.
So it's not the highest praised song in the world.
Eminem, Lose Yourself.
Well, that's a little bit easier to remember.
For sure.
Okay.
I agree.
So I guess if I had to choose between Jeff's song and Jody's song, I would go with Eminem. But I wouldn't use either of them.
You would use the Happy Birthday before either of them?
No, I wouldn't use Happy Birthday either because I hate that song.
Okay.
I hate when people sing Happy Birthday to me.
Oh, I'll have to remember. Your birthday's coming up. So I'll have to work on that. But, yeah, okay. Wow. These are all terrible options.
It's as good. The answers were as good as the question, Dave.
It was good as the question. Fair.
I'm not knocking the question. I think it was a good question. Just saying.
Okay, that's pandering, and you know it.
You know what?
Maybe a little.
At first, I thought Chris had a pretty solid one here, but it's too long. You don't know where to keep track.
That's why I said do it in 5 beers at a time.
However, what's working for Chris is that his lyrics are memorable, if though controversial, because there's apparently multiple versions. Sometimes it falls off the wall. Sometimes it comes down from the wall. Who knows? Jeff's, nobody knows those lyrics to Staying Alive past the first, I am staying, you can tell by the way I walk.
You don't need to know the lyrics, Dave. You just go,
sure you do. You're singing them to yourself while you're washing.
So you're more humming.
Yeah, you hum it.
Now, Jody, although I don't think I know all those lyrics as well as I know the 99 bottles of beer lyrics.
The question was which song is good for washing your, for a 20-second wash, man.
What's
it
the
had
best
nothing
song?
to do with which
At
one
least
you fucking
on
know.
my song, you get to have fun and you get to.
There's nothing fun about the Bee
Gees.
Gees. Where the fuck have you been?
The Bee Gees were a treasure. They're an English treasure.
They are not an English treasure.
Australian treasure, then.
Well, I think
Jason wants to know if you're the type, Chris, to have a bathroom beer.
I can answer this. Yes. 100%.
No?
And I'll tell you right now, some of the best things in life, one of them is having beers while having a shower.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
shower
cool with
beer.
that. Yeah, especially in our current times.
It's a good go.
It's a
You know what's
time.
awesome about bathroom beers, like having a shower and having a beer, is the beer never gets empty, but it gets less tasty.
Well, you drink Coors Light though, so you would know exactly what shower water tastes like.
Notice the difference on that one. Yeah.
It's only slightly less tasty, right?
Yeah.
I think we need a ruling here, Dave. I mean,
I know.
I think the ruling is me. Like the other two have no chance here, dude.
Come on, you have fun with Staying Alive. The other two are just kind of sad.
Not about fun. What are you talking about? My song's about inspiration.
Your song's about rebellion.
My
No,
songs
it isn't.
give you a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day when you finally
There's
finish,
no accomplishment. The only thing
Chris,
your
you're talking
accomplishment
about
is
alcoholism.
boring
I mean,
yourself
come
to
on,
death
let's
by
get real here.
counting.
and then you have 0 bottles of beer on the
You're
wall.
fucking counting. You might as well just go 1, 2, 3, 4,
It's a
5.
countdown,
Should I go
not a
on?
count up. So it's
It's not fun. There's nothing there. You're not losing yourself to the music, which is clearly what I'm doing.
the only question I'm left with, Jody, is when in the lyrics of "Lose Yourself," it says, "Do not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes only once in a lifetime."
Yeah, it means
Your chance to blow what or who?
Well, it's. Have you ever seen 8 Mile? That's what this
Yes,
movie-
I have.
Okay, well then you clearly know what it is. It's about rap battles and stuff like that. But it's about him, obviously going out to get that goal of being the best. It's an inspirational song, actually, if you really look into it.
I think it's better than being gay.
You picked Bee Gees, and you're going to tell me about gay?
Hey,
Come
they're
on.
proud. They're loud and they're proud.
Hey, we're
That's
all about
fine.
pride
There's nothing
here.
wrong with
All
being
right.
gay,
Our
but-
logo's literally a rainbow. Come on. Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Let's. I'm giving this one to Jody.
Thank you.
What?
Oh, like you had a chance. Jeff had a chance. You had nothing.
I tried my best.
You were close, Chris. You were close.
He was
Again-
not close. Do not pump him up. You might as well
Okay.
just count, Chris. You picked a counting song.
But
All right.
backwards, it's
I did
different.
also argue for Philadelphia earlier in this. I have nothing against gay people.
All right. The score right now is Jody 2, Jeff 1, Chris with none. Okay, we have 3 rounds to go. Let's move on to the next round, which is sports.
The one that Kevin Millard has always been the best at.
Yeah, he loves it. This is Kevin's favorite round every time.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
the
hope
sports
he's watching.
round. So our question here is, as we've lost all our sports leagues, because they're mass gatherings, not everybody's a fan of every sports league. And then, there's some that would be fine if they never came back. So let's talk about which one we hope doesn't come back. If it, that's probably not realistic, but we can wish for it. So we'll start with Jody
Okay.
for this round. Jody, what do you think? What sport would you rather just doesn't come back?
The league that I picked to not come ever back was the XFL. This was a hybrid WWE/football league that was conceived by Vince McMahon because he wanted to buy the CFL and he couldn't. So he decided to make his own football league, essentially. It was supposed to be more of an extreme, more entertaining. Wow, there's a lot of... You guys getting a lot of static going on?
It's coming from Chris's microphone.
Is it Chris? Okay. Anyway, sorry. This league was just stupid. This was a totally stupid league. Like they had a black football, which I'm sure, the TV broadcasters loved that. The X actually didn't stand for anything, even though everybody thinks it stands for extreme. It actually doesn't stand for anything. He just thought it would be cool to put an X in front of football league. The rules were constantly changing throughout the season, so you there was no consistency. You didn't actually know how the game was played because you'd watch one game, and then you'd go to watch another game, and you'd be like, "Why are they fucking calling this now? It was good on the last game." So there was no consistency. It was just terrible. The TV ratings were abysmal for this thing. Nobody wanted it. The live audience, however, did enjoy it. Apparently, it was more of like a WrestleMania kind of thing. People, love that type of experience. But the TV ratings, which, let's be honest, TV ratings really do dictate how a lot of these leagues end up getting their money. And at the end of the day, the financial impact of this, of even trying this, lost NBC a ton of money, as well as the WWE, I'm sure, as well. Just overall, garbage league. I have no idea why you do that. There was some innovations that did come out of it, like the Sky Cam, for instance, is being used a lot in football now. But past that, it was a terrible league. There's no point in bringing it back.
Chris, what sport do you hope doesn't come back?
You said league, though, right? Not sport.
Sports. What sports league? We specifically said
okay.
sports league. Yes.
Because if it was a sport, I'd say baseball.
Well,
Just
you
so
could
you
have
know.
chosen the MLB or something.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's not a sport. It's the league of a sport. Yeah.
Correct. Good clarification. We talked about a sports league, not the game itself.
Okay, well, there's many leagues around the world for this. BBC is one for answer for instance. But I'm going with the men's beach volleyball league. Because
Men's Beach Volleyball League. Is that a league?
There are different leagues around the country. The BBC being one of them.
What do you have against men playing volleyball?
What do you got against BBCs?
Nothing. It's a sport that it doesn't make any money. I don't think. I believe they do have it at the Olympics.
Let me ask you this: are you against the WBC?
The women's beach volleyball is okay?
No,
So you're okay with the women jumping around, but the men you're not. Okay.
Because nobody watches the men. Nobody watches it.
I'm sure there are some people.
There isn't ladies that watch that?
Yeah,
There
ladies
isn't
that watch it, yeah.
other men that enjoy that?
Other men that, yeah.
I don't think there's any.
Those same men that would like staying alive.
That would ever want to watch it.
So you're saying that men should only play volleyball indoors and without sand?
Right, and with like all their clothes on.
One of the most iconic scenes in Top Gun was a bunch of guys playing volleyball on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's just for fun. That's not a league.
Not the most homoerotic movie ever.
They could have been in a league. We don't know that.
It was like the Navy League.
Whether it's homoerotic or not, that doesn't change anything. It's about what shouldn't be around. I don't see what.
Hey, I'm all for it. I think they have the right to exist. I agree. I disagree with both of your choices, by the way.
Okay, well, we'll see what yours is. I'm sure.
Well, I just think that, like, let's say I had a friend and he told me, like, hey Chris, you know what I'm famous for, because I won a gold medal in men's beach volleyball. I would just be like, I don't care. That's like just as impressive as scoring 4 touchdowns in a single game for Polk High. That's how impressive that is.
Jason Doan says the men's beach volleyball is poised to potentially make a huge comeback because of the Top Gun sequel.
I do not know Jason Doan, but I'm telling you, this guy is awesome. All right. I don't know this guy, but the guy's awesome.
I don't know. He's got a thing for Jody.
Grew up with him. Yeah. Jeff, what sports league do you hope doesn't come back? Maybe the biggest sports fan of these three.
I picked the NFL.
The NFL. So we have the NFL and the XFL going head to head in this round, along with men's beach volleyball.
Nobody cares about the XFL. The XFL doesn't even matter.
That's why it shouldn't come back.
Well, that's fair. That's a fair point, but I have better reasons for why the NFL should not come back.
I would love to hear them.
Why? They make tons of money.
Yeah, they're also run by a bunch of racist oligarch owners that don't treat their fans, players well whatsoever. The players end up getting a form of the head CTE, where they end up either killing themselves or hurting other people. It's never dealt with. It's there's been multiple criminals that have played in the NFL that have been covered up. There's been murders, O.J. Simpson, Aaron Hernandez. I could go on, but the NFL has had.
Do you think all football then? Or
no, I just think there's a problem with. I don't think all football players or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a problem.
So college football is okay. They can hurt themselves. They can have
college football.
They can have bad people in it, but and they can have bad owners.
Not a professional hockey league. We're not talking about. I will also.
You don't think college football is a professional league? Really?
No, it's not. They're not professional. They don't get paid.
What about the CFL then?
Okay, the CFL is a better argument, but I do think that there are rules set up within the CFL that allow for less physical contact than CTE. There's less running. There's more passing. The field is bigger. The ball is bigger. For the most part, it seems like I don't like football in general. I think it's most likely the most dangerous to the human body of all the sports that are played.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
Maybe the only one that would come close would be racing, car racing. And I could argue for car racing, but I thought that this was this affects more people. It's a very select few people that play that do the race cars, whereas a lot of people go through all the college schools, don't get paid, get their brains battered in, become criminals or become violent or become go through such CTE problems that end up
playing football
the rest of their life. Playing football, yes.
So playing football creates degenerates and felons?
It does.
Really?
Not in everybody, but it does absolutely do that.
I think there's just as many felons in any other professional sport, but...
Really?
Okay.
You think
that?
Yeah.
The injury thing I'm with you on. I completely agree with that. I picked a format. I picked an actual format of play versus that was a league. You seem to want to just get rid of all professional football, which is a little bit against the question, I think. But so you're okay with the CFL existing then?
No, I was told to choose one league. Okay,
One league,
I can't pick one. I can't pick multiple leagues. I'm going to pick the biggest one, the one that
Okay.
makes the most money, like Chris said.
Definitely, it is. Yep.
The one that has the most popular influence on people. Everybody gets around every Sunday, the whole day, to watch this one sport, which I think nobody really realizes or talks about the impact that this sport has on humans. And I think this is a lot more unique. Now, can people get hurt in hockey? Can people get hurt in basketball? Absolutely.
Yeah, they can get hurt in
Injuries
anything.
happen.
Yeah.
I just think that the equipment, especially in football, especially the NFL, I had to pick one league, is the most damaging to humans. And it's for our gratification. It's for our titillating, the reason why we like the NFL or any football is the violence. We like watching the collision. We like hearing the sound. If they took all the pads and made them leather like they were when the sport was first invented, the impact on the body would be different, but also the entertainment value would go down and people would not like this. And I think this is a major question that we should be asking about which sports league should not come back. That's my opinion. That's where I'm going to stand on my argument.
Chris, I want to hear from you next because you're going against these two football leagues, so you can kind of make your argument almost against both of them together if you choose to. I don't know if you see a distinction between the two, and if you do, please comment on such. But
personally, I don't really watch any kind of football. Whether it be,
I don't either.
I don't watch CFL. I don't watch NFL. I don't watch XFL. Just doesn't interest me. But I can tell you that if the NFL was never brought back, there would be riots in the U.S. There would be people going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would that might even start a civil war down there.
Do you think that they would start a civil war over beach volleyball, men's beach volleyball?
No, of course they wouldn't.
We wouldn't do that in Canada. If you took the CFL away in Canada, that would not happen.
Because Canadians aren't allowed to carry around guns.
No, we don't care about CFL. We care about hockey. But
right.
You took our hockey away, which it's happening right now because of the pandemic. I mean, we're not starting riots, but I do agree that in the States they are so attached to their football as a culture. They look at it even bleeds over to their politics. It's like this team or that team. It's a black or white society, and I think football culture has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
The XFL, if I had to argue with the XFL, who cares? I mean, the XFL is not even going to be able to last a year anyway. It's going to go away anyway. So it's just. I'm
stupid. Sure at one point they said that about professional wrestling too, and that's still around.
Well, yeah, but we saw him try the XFL once and it failed miserably.
And he's trying to bring it back.
And that's why I don't want it to ever come back.
It was.
I understood the XFL was going to come back this year.
It did. They played games.
They played games?
Yeah.
They did play 1 or 2 games, yeah.
Right.
But it never came back at full capacity.
But I don't think we should be these are the type of people that own football. It's guys like Vince McMahon, Jerry Jones in Dallas. We got guys like Robert Kraft. All these guys are complete assholes. They're none of them are good people for the most part.
While you were talking, Jeff, I actually had a look at the statistics on injuries. Mm-hmm. And they say that 99% of NFL players have been found to have suffered some sort of permanent brain damage. 99.
Wow.
So your argument there is extremely valid. So if you're looking at it from a humanitarian side of things, I would even concede and give it to Jeff. But I don't know if that is necessarily where we're going on this question. It was just what league shouldn't come back, which XFL is, from an entertainment viewpoint, is just terrible. So
you could argue the entertainment, or you could argue the humanitarian. They're different arguments, I guess. But
they are. So I guess the judge is going to have to determine that. But.
The question doesn't ask why we would hope. For Chris, he doesn't want to look at dudes play beach volleyball. I mean, that's why he would hope that league doesn't come back, and that's fine. My argument, we all have different reasons why we picked our sports league. That's up to Dave to decide which argument is more valid.
Yep.
I think the best argument is probably Jeff's. However, I agree with Chris's counterpoint that if you try to take the NFL away, there would be serious ramifications, and perhaps we should not hope for that. I think that the XFL is an interesting one because it's just such a train wreck of a league and would be again. And
Oh yeah.
And yet Chris has made me laugh the most, which does have points. But Chris, do you have any kind of like major injuries or corruption or criminality or just like insane theatrics involved in your sport that would make it grounds for never coming back?
No, but if it never came back, nobody would care. There wouldn't be riots. Nothing would happen. Everything would still be the same.
Nobody cared when the XFL didn't come back either.
Just no one here is a beach volleyball player, but I'm sure there's somebody who cares.
I enjoy playing volleyball. I have done it on a beach.
Volleyball's good.
I've never played professionally, nor would I.
And it's and to Jason Doan's point, it's about to go through this like huge surge after Top Gun 2.
Might be extremely popular again. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think we can take it away. You know what? I'm giving this to Jeff.
I'm
Jeff
okay with losing to that one.
Gets this one.
Well done, Jeff.
Okay.
I thought you were going to give it to Chris.
Almost. Now,
I would have called bullshit on that one. Then.
We have Jeff has 2 points. Jody has 2 points. Now, Chris, you need to take both of these next 2 rounds in order to get a tiebreaker, at least, to get into the speed round. So, moving down the list, we are going over to our history round, which is which plague in our history has been the worst of them all. There's been many that have ravaged humanity throughout the course of our history. They've all been terrible in different ways. So let's get into this question. We are going to start with Jeff for this one. So, Jeff, you're as being a history connoisseur and major in school, what do you think?
Definitely has an advantage on this question.
Yeah, he may have a little bit of more qualifications than the other two, but we'll see.
Okay, so I picked the American plagues of the 16th century. I picked the plagues that basically were used as a biological weapon to complete a genocide on the Native American populations of the Americas.
So which plague are you picking?
Well, so basically it's multiple plagues, but it's
the question was one plague.
Well, no, the question, it says which plague, which
plague, yeah.
Okay, I'll pick smallpox. How's that?
Perfect.
Smallpox.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're changing it to smallpox. Okay.
Well, he's not changing it. You can't have fucking 8 plagues in it.
I'll pick smallpox. Did anyone else pick smallpox, Dave?
No.
Okay, so I'll pick smallpox. That's the one that people generally think about when they talk about the American plague. So there were multiple plagues. They used multiple diseases, but the smallpox was probably the one that killed the most people. It killed over 300 to 500 million people within a century. So to completely decimate cultures like the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, the Navajo, all the tribes of the Midwestern Plains. It basically was used as a weapon because it did not affect the European populations at the same rate that it affected the Native American populations due to immunities. So it was used as a conquering tool. That's why I say if you're going to pick one that is the worst of them all, I don't go basically on sheer numbers. You can go on sheer numbers and you can argue sheer numbers, but at least in, like, for instance, the bubonic plague in Europe, it did not decimate it did decimate certain cultures, but it did not decimate entire populations and entire races. I guess you could use that word. So that would be my argument. I mean, there's
Sorry, I just read a comment.
The worst plague is Europeans. I mean, yeah. I mean, I could argue the Europeans. Yeah, I mean that would be a good one to argue that way. But I think I would get countered on that one, so I'll just pick smallpox.
Smallpox. Okay, Chris.
Yep.
On your side, what plague do you think's been the worst one in human history?
Well, see, I'm not a history buff like Jeff, so I have to base my knowledge on my own experience. So I'm going to go with COVID-19.
COVID-19, the one we're in, this pandemic that we're in, this plague that we're dealing with now, the worst of them all.
The worst
now
of them all.
I know he never wins any of these.
What are you... Jody, I can see you up there making those...
That's fine.
But look what it's done to our economy in just a month. Like, I know it's been around since, like, November, December last year. But basically, things have been shut down here in our country for about a month. Look what it's already done to us. Jeff's plague killed people over I think he said a century. Took that long to kill 4 million people. If we keep going at the rate that people are dying at now, there's going to be well over 5 million people dead in a century if it keeps up. Hopefully we'll find a cure, though.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And that's it.
Well said. Okay.
I don't know where he's getting his numbers from, but all right.
Yeah. In a century, there will be how many people dead?
Well, I'll do the math while Jody's talking. And
Okay. Yeah, do the math. It's long form multiplication.
I would love you to show your math on that one as well.
I'll show you.
Okay.
Jody, I know the answer, but why don't you tell the group what do you think is the worst plague in human history?
I picked the Black Death, better known as the pestilence of the plague. Was the most fatal pandemic recorded in human history, with an estimated 75 to upwards of 200 million people dead. Now, did it target just a certain group of people? No. Okay. This was something that would kill everybody. Okay. You had massive fevers, a whole bunch of things. You had phonomic plague, bubonic plague, all of that stuff was all part of the one thing. This was one plague that caused various symptoms. You had, painful joints, headaches, nausea, vomiting. This thing would just kill. It just killed. That's all it did. It just killed. There was no trying to target certain people. It would kill everything. And that's really what it did. It was traveled through ticks and rats generally. It was a cleanliness issue, really, for the most part. Now, this happened during the 1340s to...
You specifically list here on your answer 1346 to 1353, so 14th century.
Yeah, so that type of area. The mortality rate for that was just insane. It was what was it? Here, I actually had it written down, and I can't find it. Up to 50% of European population died of this plague. 50%. So take 50% of the population of Europe and just gone. This thing just destroyed. That's all it did. It destroyed. It is known as the greatest killer. There's a reason for that, because it was. If we were talking, the best plague, this is it. This is it. There is no other. This is the undisputed champion. I don't have anything else to say.
Undisputed champion. Well, we may have a little bit of a dispute here.
Oh, let's hear what COVID-19 is going to do, because it ain't near that.
Chris, why is COVID-19 worse than the Black Death?
Yes. Please, Chris.
Because the Black Death happened so long ago that nobody living now cares anymore. It happened in the 1300s. Just like in the year 2700, like 700 years from now, nobody's going to care about COVID-19 anymore.
Okay.
And that's your argument?
Yep.
We now know why you lose. All right.
And Jeff, a question for you from Jason Dome.
Yes.
Did the settlers knowingly give smallpox to the natives, or isn't it plausible that the early settlers had herd immunity and knowingly gave it to the natives?
Well, the answer is kind of both. They did unknowingly give it to them, but they also did knowingly give it to them as well. So they did give them. What they would do is they would put blankets like from the fur trade into places and hospitals, field hospitals, where they knew the disease existed. And so they would then trade those blankets with the native populations. So they did do that knowingly, but the mass amount of death was probably from a herd immunity that existed. But the Europeans also chose not to go out of their way to try to stop that. So so you could say it's like they kind of let it happen, basically.
Well, the Americans didn't go out of their way to stop the Nazis until they had to.
Wow.
So, the same could be said that way, right? I don't know if that makes that the greatest plague, because it was used as a weapon. Because, let's be honest, it was. I agree with you on that.
My only argument is that, the bubonic plague was bad, but, there are still Italians, there are still French, there are still Germans. They still exist.
There's still Native Indians, too.
Yeah, there's no Aztecs, there's no real, there's no, there is, but, there's not. Their civilization has been wiped out. And
Yeah,
so,
but that wasn't the only reason why the civilization was wiped out.
not the only reason, but a huge proponent. They weren't able to defend themselves at a certain point once their populations got down to a certain level that they were conquered, basically.
Right. And then another comment here, too, also from Jason. Unlike the plague and smallpox, COVID-19 has the benefit of the internet to inform the masses, and yet look at how people are acting. So,
Well, I'm staying home, so I'm acting well.
Right.
Yeah, but you still got
We all are.
idiots going out there protesting the stay-at-home orders, especially in the U.S.
There's also idiots that say that HIV was something that was developed to kill off gay people.
Jeff.
Okay.
Do you think that COVID-19 is worse than the smallpox plague of the 16th century?
I mean, the word "worst" is not really a great barometer of what we're talking about. I mean,
That's true.
Chris could very easily win this argument for the fact that COVID-19 has had the most detrimental effect to our economy since the Great Depression. And it just started. This has just started. I mean, we don't really know where this is going yet. We don't know. It's the unknown that's the scariest part about COVID-19. Whereas, we are, with the bubonic plague and smallpox, we've seen those diseases come and go, and we know what they did. We're not in the middle of it. So
the infection rate, but the infection rate of COVID-19 is up to the mortality rate is like up to 5%. Whereas bubonic plague, it was 50%. Like, it was literally 1 in 2 people would die.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Right.
That isn't happening with COVID.
Right, but we also are all sheltering in place. I mean, if COVID-19 was going through the population, in the 16th century, or like, just make that comparison, it would kill a lot more than 5%. So we don't know, but
it would also spread a lot faster because people wouldn't stay home.
We also have modern medicine, like we have freedom of information. Is we can pass information between China and here very rapidly, but it's also the reason why the disease spread so fast, because we have airplanes and people get on these airplanes.
Oh, absolutely.
So COVID-19 has become a worldwide epidemic, where it may be in like 400 years ago, it might have only been in China.
That's true.
So
true. Chris, you're fighting for your life here, man. I'm gonna give you another chance to make a case.
Well, I just think what it's done to our economy and how it's made people act, and how, like, I don't know if you guys have been, like, has anyone been rude to you at the grocery store lately? It's changing the way our whole society is. I was at the
people were rude before
yesterday.
This.
Yeah, but I was at the grocery store yesterday, just like picking up some things that I needed, because I go shopping once a week now, like I think everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this guy. I had to pass him in the lane, and I tried to stay away from him, and he's like, "Hey, you, stay 6 feet away from me." It's just changing people.
Yeah, but that's that guy getting pissed off because you're not following social protocol.
Well, yeah.
Why is that his fault?
What am I supposed to do? Stand behind him while he fucking figures out what kind of beans he wants?
Yes.
yeah.
No.
Yes.
I mean,
no. Actually, that's what you are supposed to do.
It'd be nice if you did that. Yeah.
That's what I do. I waited fucking 2 minutes for some old granny to pick out some fucking cup of soup she wanted.
Really?
Yeah. Well, what the fuck else do I got to do?
I don't have that kind of
like.
patience.
If I get home 2 minutes earlier, what is that going to gain me? I get to sit on my ass for 2 minutes more.
There
Whatever.
you go.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you can't be mad at somebody because they're pissed off because you're not following protocol.
I got as far away from him as I could.
That's great. You didn't have to pass him. You could have went around him.
I did go around him.
You could have went to another aisle.
Chris, do you feel that COVID-19 is having a bigger impact on society than the Black Death or smallpox did in their time periods?
Yes. Because we're noticing it. Like, it's all over
the internet. They noticed it then,
people
too.
that got smallpox didn't notice it?
No, they didn't notice it.
They didn't notice everybody dying? Fuck, dude. Like,
can I just
I'm not even arguing my case.
I read one thing about.
But I'm still telling you that.
Can I just read one thing about smallpox? To Jason Jones' question. William Trent, a trader, land speculator, and militia captain, wrote in his diary that on June 23rd, 2 Delaware emissaries had visited the fort and asked to hold talks the next day. At that meeting, after the Native American diplomats had tried unsuccessfully to persuade the British to abandon the Fort Pitt. They asked the provisions and liquor for the return. The British complied and also gave them gifts, 2 blankets and a handkerchief, which had come from the smallpox ward. I hope it will have the desired effect, Trent wrote. So that's my argument.
They used it as biological warfare.
That's right.
And the Black Death, which was earlier than that, but as far as I know, was, there's a reason we all still know about it today. It killed a third of the world's population, I believe, in its time.
Spanish flu killed a quarter of the world's population. I think 27%, and no one picked the Spanish flu.
No one picked the Spanish flu. I was expecting the Spanish flu to be here more than COVID, but
I picked the one that killed the most amount. It was the deadliest one.
That's good.
I don't know if I can really explain that anymore.
Yes, it was bad. Yes,
that was nasty.
Definitely bad.
Smallpox was nasty too. Don't get me wrong.
And Chris, just so I understand, your counter argument against the other two is that they're a long time ago and no one cares.
Yes, and just because it killed a whole bunch more people doesn't make it the worst.
You started your opening question with saying that this could kill millions.
You could.
Well, yeah, so could a serial murderer too, but without the fucking facts, where are you?
Well, I don't have to look everything up.
No, it's only a show based on fact, but whatever.
The facts. So the word, you're just right. The word "worst" is sort of like the big thing here, because that's
a hard thing to.
That's how the question was phrased.
Because from a moral viewpoint, I would say that Jeff would win, because the smallpox was used as a weaponized thing, right? Like, it really was. But if you look at worse from just devastation, it's me, 100%. Like, mine killed way more than everybody else, and will.
You know what? People are going out there like purposely coughing on each other. Like, that's just as bad as using it as a weapon, to me.
Ashley Millard is reporting that the smallpox killed more people than the Black Plague.
Ashley Millard needs to look up Wikipedia then.
Jason Doan also says they are each the worst for different reasons. Smallpox for being a biological weapon against First Nations, the plague for wiping out so many people, and COVID-19 for what it's done to the global economy and the unknown sort of how it's going to affect society long term. So I think you all have a good cause, a good argument here. I think, rightly so. Which is the best of these?
Actually, you know what? Hold on. Ashley's not wrong. No, Ashley is right. Well, Wikipedia cites it anyway. It says smallpox is estimated to have killed up to 300 million people. So
yeah, that's what I said. 300 to 500. I think you said.
Okay, I conclude that I am wrong.
The reason why they don't know.
Ashley Millard is correct.
They don't know the answer for that because there was no census of First Nations people. They just
well,
so
it's an estimated.
It's an estimated number, and they're probably wrong, and it's probably a lot worse than they know it to be.
Well, it's assumed, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of indigenous people at one point.
Yeah, there was huge civilizations. I mean, the Aztec people don't really realize, but the Aztecs and the Mayans had huge cities.
So, Dave, I'm going to conclude that Ashley Millard, bringing that up, I'm going to conclude that I'm not correct in this scenario. So I would like to withdraw my answer.
For the body count, 75 to 200 million.
Yeah.
300 years earlier, which would, the population, I think would have.
The population, if you look at percentage-wise, I think I'm still winning, but.
Smallpox, 500 million, and I'm sure I can look on the Johns Hopkins University to figure out how many COVID-19.
So let me say this, Dave. If you're going based on the most kill count, I would like to withdraw my answer.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just that. I think the long-term devastations, and I think that I have to give this round, unfortunately, sorry, Chris, to Jeff, because he just has
well-deserved
more long-term consequences. It wiped out societies and cultures. Mm-hmm. It was used as biological warfare, and just couldn't.
What is done now?
Well, the first vaccine was created in 1800 in Boston, but it didn't. It took many years to be able to
millions of Jews died during World War II. Just because it's done now doesn't mean we don't fucking remember it and we don't deal with that. Like, come on.
This is always Chris's most hated category. Actually, if I look at the stats on history, I believe that Chris has won the history round. Only 11%, which is
I bet Jeff has won at amazing amounts.
Yes. Jeff's won it more often. Okay, guys,
sure.
moving on to the next round. We are going to the wild card. Now, Chris, I'm going to give you a special provision. If you get this, you get 2 points because that would put you into a special tiebreaker position. But everyone else is one. So here we're going with the wild card round, which is what is the most prolific computer virus?
I will say I'm in a disadvantage here. You guys know a lot more about this than I do.
Chris, I don't know if you've gone first yet, so I'm going to let you go first here. Let's have you make your case first. What virus would you say? And as we noted earlier, you have a background in computers.
Yeah, I'm not going to change my answer because I've already submitted it, but I feel like I'm going to lose, just because I didn't choose a virus. I went with the computer problem that probably affected us the most in
If you say Y2K, you've already lost.
I said the year 2000 problem.
You're dumb. No. barely even affected anybody.
The reason
I got
is
a chance, Dave. I got a chance here. All right.
You know what? It wasn't.
There's no way you're winning this.
It was not prolific in damage that it caused, because really it didn't cause any damage to anyone's computers. Nobody's computers blew up. They were all fine. Again, I'll have to go back to the economy. It caused huge problems for the economy. Companies spent millions of dollars. I was working for GE at the time. I was doing a contract worth $2 million upgrading the computers at Sun Life so they were Y2K compliant. I was doing this in like 1997. Then I had to do it at Nesbitt Burns. They're all upgrading the computer. These companies are buying millions of dollars in computer hardware, which they don't need.
They would have had to upgrade anyway.
They didn't have to upgrade it at that.
Oh, they would have had to.
Not at that.
The progression from 97 to even 2003 in computers was astronomical. They had to upgrade. They didn't have an option.
Of speed, maybe. I mean, companies pretty much have to upgrade at least every 5 years anyways, but they don't. They can do it in stages. They can do it in rollouts.
You're in a business that completely takes advantage of people upgrading computers every 5 years.
Yeah. But they can do it in stages. Like, let's say you've got a bank, and this bank has 500,000 computers in Canada. They don't replace 500,000 computers at once. They'll replace 100,000 a year over 5 years, and then they'll start all over again. So it's always a rolling thing. And the year 2000 just it hurt some of these companies so badly because they felt the need back then to upgrade every computer that they had, or else they thought the world was going to end. Banks were going to be shut down. Companies would be shut down. People wouldn't receive payments, or the world was basically
So for
stopped.
anybody who's not clear what the Y2K bug actually was, it was the difference between a 2 and a 4-digit year value in a BIOS or in a computer program.
Right.
It wasn't a virus. It wasn't a virus at all. It was a fault.
It was a glitch, basically.
Like when you sent this
wasn't even a
through,
glitch,
Chris,
it was
I thought that there was actually a virus called the year 2000.
No, there might have been.
No,
the
there was-
Y2K bug, they called it.
You're
they
calling
called it the Y2K bug.
that's a technology crisis of sorts, but a virus.
It's
isn't
not a virus.
necessary. Yeah.
It wasn't a virus. It was like it was more of poor planning from people.
Right.
It's not much different than Ford recalling cars because of an airbag issue. It was a design flaw. It had nothing to do with a virus.
Ford calling back cars, at least Ford is going to replace that airbag and fix it. It's not like Dell.
Tell that to the people that died from various lawsuits because of that. But anyway,
Dell wasn't out there recalling their computer, so they
planes didn't fall from the sky, Chris.
No, they had to be replaced. Anyways, done for now.
Okay. All right. Jeff, you want to go next?
Oh, okay. I picked Conflicker.
Conflicker. Okay.
Which was
one's
Not a
that?
bad pick.
Conflicker was the one that the reason why I picked it was because it affected me the most.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it destroyed one of my computers. So when I was, I think, just coming out of high school, it was like 2008, 2009 or something like that. I remember it was April Fool's. And it's an email, and if you clicked on the email, it would like go into your Windows basically rootkit it was a rootkit that would just destroy your computer. Like from what and anyway, I don't know like a lot about computer viruses, but what I do know was that it was a worm that when it first came out, they first discovered it, they were really concerned, and it ended up affecting like major computer systems, including like the armed forces of Germany, UK Ministry of Defense, the French Navy. Like this was a really like effective worm virus that spread to over 9 million computers. So, I mean, it obviously had a major effect. I only picked it because I had personally had experience with it. I'm sure there was I know the I Love You was a really bad one, and I know there's been some bad viruses. I don't know a lot about this, so I have a hard time arguing for it. But I just, for personal experience, it destroyed one of my computers. I had to buy a new computer. So,
shout out to website pop-ups from Kevin Millard on this.
Not a virus.
We know those ones were bad, so.
Even though they act like it.
And good old botnets, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Closer to a virus, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Jody, why don't you take it away? What do you think is the most prolific computer virus?
The most prolific computer virus is actually I Love You, which is something that you just mentioned, Jeff. This was a virus that actually came in the form of an attachment on an email. And because it was such a weird thing, it was a love letter. Most people would click on it. Most people would be like, who the fuck's sending me a love letter, right? This was a virus worm that was known to just decimate systems. It was a VB script. It attached itself to the Windows address book as well as Microsoft Outlook. This was a virus that once it got into your system would send out as you to other people to infect even more computers. This would just destroy the machine. You're talking a whole slew of things. This was one of the first indications of what's familiar to everybody now as malware, to a degree. This particular virus caused, I believe it was in the billions, it was estimated. Now, the one thing I will say for Chris is it did actually cost a lot of people money, the Y2K, but it was not a virus. So I think that alone just kills him. But this caused, just in the U.S. alone, up to $8.7 billion in damages to computer system, financial institutions, and the like. This thing was just...
I don't believe the I Love You virus caused any physical damage to the systems.
No, there was no physical damage to the systems, and neither did the Y2K bug. The Y2K bug caused issues with software translating something from hardware. Right. But it didn't blow up your fucking computer or anything. No. The computer would still work. It would just think it was in 1900.
Did I Love You have any effect on military?
Oh yeah. It was all over the place. I don't actually have the exact stats on who it definitely affected. It started off in the Philippines. This was actually the virus that essentially started a lot of the modern legislation for penalizing people who create them. This was created by just two guys in the Philippines to cause some shit, and it got out, and it got everywhere. And they actually tracked down the two guys. They charged them and everything. They actually figured out where it originated. But the virus itself, yeah, it did. It caused very similar symptoms to what you're experiencing, Jeff, with your personal story there, where it would just destroy the machine. But it could create a whole slew of things. It could end up causing botnets. It could cause a whole slew of stuff. Right. There was various hooks of it as well. So it would, there's people who would modify it past that, stuff like that. But the financial blow alone, just to the U.S., was in $8 billion territory. And if you think about that worldwide, estimated it was somewhere around I think they said the last time I saw something on it was like $130 billion worldwide. Was lost just on this stupid virus. And that wasn't even the cleanup. That was on financial transactions that disappeared. That was on the whole slew of stuff. So it was literally the worst computer virus in modern history anyway, with computers for that. Chris has a very good example of a technology issue that definitely affected people, but not a virus.
I just remember with mine that when I turned off my computer, I could not get back into Windows.
You couldn't turn it back on again, yeah.
Yeah, that's what that.
Yeah, it wouldn't boot up.
I don't know.
It didn't actually kill the hardware.
Did I Love You do that too? You couldn't get back into your software?
In some scenarios, but it was a time release thing, so it wasn't something that would happen right away. you could be infected for 3 months before it just finally decided to blow itself up.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the question is: imagine if they were just trying to make an app to say "I love you" instead of they caused all this havoc.
They clearly were doing something they weren't supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Well, why create a virus? Like, what's the reasoning for creating a computer virus? Like,
If you're an asshole.
Cause some shit.
just causing shit. That's it. That's all.
Same
It's
reason
about the
why
same
people-
reason.
It's the same idea as somebody putting anti-Jew graffiti on a wall. Like you're causing shit. That's what you're doing.
These days, though, not so much. There's viruses out there that'll encrypt your data, and you got to pay them money to get it unencrypted.
Yeah.
There are people that do it for profit as well.
Oh yeah, there's people that they'll encrypt all your files, and then you have to pay them $400 in Bitcoin, or you don't get it back.
Yep.
Right. They make
even then,
the
you don't always get it
cure
back.
so that they can, and they create the disease.
There's
as
a lot of
well.
hospitals that have been nailed with that, and various organizations as well, but nothing near to the devastation of the I Love You virus. It hit at a perfect time. It was in the early 2000, and it hit right at the time when everybody was more worried about other things, which happens to be what Chris was talking about. So it was a perfect time to kind of sneak in there and cause some shit.
Okay. Chris, rebuttal is your cause the year 2000, the Y2K. Is that a virus or not? You haven't actually refuted Jody's statements.
It was called the Y2K bug. It is not technically a virus. Someone didn't create it to cause havoc. It wasn't intentionally done, but it did cause a lot of trouble.
Okay. And then, Jeff, why do you think the Conficker is more worthy than the year 2000? Or, sorry, than the I Love You virus?
I don't really have a good argument one way or another. All I know is that it affected
At least
me.
he's honest.
Well, I've heard enough. This round is going to Jody.
Thank you.
Damn it.
So,
Well, the good news, Chris, is your record is strong.
That's good.
Right. Okay. So we're going to the speed round, guys.
Wait, how many rounds did I win so far?
None.
None.
Okay.
Chris.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
You
No,
did a
it's
clear
okay. It's good to check on this. So for those of you keeping track at score at home, after the first 6 rounds, and thank you for those that have stayed with us, we are now at Jody 3 and Jeff 3. So we go into the speed round now. Chris is eliminated at this point. He cannot compete, although he will serve as consigliere for this sort of round to myself as helping to judge which the two.
Just be clear to the audience, we now do not know the questions that are coming up.
You do not know. So I will postulate a question. We'll go through the same rounds. It will be movies and TV, but it'll be much quicker. I'll give you a question. I'll give you 2 possible answers. This is first come, first serve. Whichever of you says they want that answer first.
So how do we
have to
buzz
argue.
in? I guess. Do we just yell at
I guess you just
or-
have to. I guess you just have to say it first, and it's whoever comes through the audio. I know when we used to do this in person, it worked a little better. So this is a bit of a we're trying this out. But
All right.
I hear both of you pretty much as soon as you speak. I don't think you guys cancel each other out.
No, we're pretty
So-
close. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep your arguments brief, like 30 seconds, or something
That'd be
like
good
that.
considering we're already running like an hour and a half.
2 hours actually.
Oh,
So,
geez.
okay, so let's go here. The question is movies, speed round movies. Which MCU movie was better? Was it in Infinity War or Endgame?
Infinity
Endgame.
War.
Okay, you guys picked separate. I heard Jeff first. So, Jeff, why was Infinity War better than Endgame?
It was just a better movie. I mean, if the plot moves, it's more fun. I like that the bad guy wins at the end of the movie. It creates stakes. There's a great cliffhanger. Endgame is like more, there's some great feels in it, but rewatchability, I'd much rather watch Infinity War any day over Endgame. I love both movies. Don't get me wrong. They're both basically one giant movie, but the first half of the movie is better.
Okay, Jody, why is Endgame better?
Endgame is the finalization of this phase. This gets everything that we've been going towards. Like we've had numerous movies to get to this Endgame, so to speak. So I guess that was a suitable title. The thing I don't like about Infinity War versus Endgame is Infinity War, I get to see all the heroes that I love die. And I don't want to see that. I want to see the resurrection. I want to see them kicking some fucking ass and taking names. That's what a superhero movie is about. the entire Infinity War, the entire movie was watching people fail. Like it's an entire downer.
More
the
people-
whole movie's a downer.
More of the heroes really died though in Endgame because they got most of them come back in Endgame, but
Only a couple
Black
heroes
Widow
actually
dies.
died.
Black Widow dies for real, and so does Iron Man, and so does sort of Captain America. There's three.
Yeah, and you can't tell me you didn't have the feels when you watched Iron Man's funeral there on the dock.
I definitely.
And of course,
I agree. With
it's a better experience. It's a more emotional experience for me. I like to see the end of that storyline, and I'm looking forward to the next storyline. So I think Endgame is just a much more a much better movie when it comes to tying up everything and just getting the whole experience.
Okay, Chris, do you have an opinion? Now, it was pointed out by Jason that why would we want a consigliere who didn't even answer the original questions properly? But I would still like to get your opinion, Chris. So
I want to be on a pod with this guy. I don't even know this guy, but this guy is amazing. I love
Chris,
him.
he's a big Star Trek fan too, Jody.
Yeah.
We gotta have him. We gotta have him.
Chris, who do you felt made the better argument? Do you have an opinion?
Personally, I like Infinity War better, but I think Jody made a better argument.
I think he did too, although he did kind of talk long. Okay, Jody gets the point.
Well, you have to tell me when to shut up.
Wait a second. Is it just who talks longer gets the point here, or like you guys
He could have
didn't
cut me off
mention
anytime he
anything
wanted.
about why his argument was better? You just went, okay, his is better. You have no facts, no.
He
reason.
convinced me. He convinced me.
Dude, you won fucking Philadelphia, and you're giving me shit? Fuck off.
I'm not giving you shit, Jody.
Well, you shouldn't be giving him shit either.
I'm
You
giving-
won on a fucking
Okay, we're going to
movie
TV.
about an outbreak.
Hey,
Did Carol Baskin kill her husband? Yes, or no?
Yes.
Okay, go,
100%
Jody.
yes.
Why did she kill her? How are
That
you
woman's
sure?
got crazy eyes. Have you even seen this woman talk? She is fucking nuts. There's no debate. I don't even know how. No. And on top of that, I have a picture that proves that Jeff believes that it's true as well.
Okay,
Well, that
Jeff.
has nothing to do. I will be Carol Baskin's lawyer here, and I will say that there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, sure, but any proof? No. Where's the body? Show me a body. Show me some proof that links Carol
It's in a
Baskin
tiger belly at this
directly
point.
to this murder. I don't think you can.
It wasn't a matter of who we were defending. It's a matter of did Carol Baskin kill her husband? Yes, 100%. She's fucking nuts.
You can't prove that.
I can't unprove it either.
Well, that's not really how this works.
Point goes to
Wow.
Jeff.
I knew I couldn't prove it, but fuck, a woman's crazy.
All right, next round. Music. All right. Who would
Garth
give
Brooks.
a better concert from home, Garth Brooks or Ozzy Osbourne?
Garth Brooks.
Okay,
Just
why?
give it to him. There's no way Ozzy Osbourne could do a better
Ozzy
show than
Osbourne
Garth
can
Brooks.
barely talk. He
Exactly.
barely knows
Just
where
give
he
it to him.
is. Garth Brooks is a fantastic entertainer. He's a national treasure in America. He always will be. He can sell out football stadiums. Ozzy Osbourne can barely put his
Blah
pants
blah.
on in the
Move
morning.
on. Jeff
Done,
wins.
move
Let's
on.
go.
All right. Okay, moving on to where's my sports question? Okay, here we go. Sports question. Here we go. Okay, wild card.
Wayne Gretzky.
Sports. Sorry, who was the greatest in their
Gretzky.
respective sport? Jordan or Gretzky? You're saying Gretzky. Why?
The guy has more points than God, for Christ's sakes. Like, if God played hockey, Wayne Gretzky could beat him. The man was just born hockey. Michael Jordan was a great player, don't get me wrong, but Wayne Gretzky, if I'm going to pick between those two people, Wayne Gretzky gets it every day. I'm Canadian. Hockey is a much better game than basketball, and Wayne Gretzky is a much better player than Michael Jordan.
Okay, Jeff.
Okay, so Michael Jordan he's what defined basketball and why it's so popular. He was the best player. He won 6 championships. Not that Gretzky didn't, but Michael Jordan was basically put the team on his back. It's more of an individual sport. Gretzky had a lot of help. Okay, Gretzky had guys like Yari Curry, Paul Coffey. I mean, if you put
You don't think Michael Jordan didn't have help?
he had a little
Scottie
bit, not as
Pippen?
much as Gretzky did. Gretzky had an all-star team. That's my argument.
Gretzky was an all-star.
Yeah, and Jordan had Rodman and Pippen. Yes, they're good players.
Gretzky
but they
has
had,
records
Steve
that still
Curry
haven't
and a
been
bunch
broken.
of bums, that just filled the bench. They were okay. They were
Michael
good.
Jordan has records that have already been broken. Wayne Gretzky has a lot of records that probably will never be broken.
Yeah, because the
In modern
goalies
times.
wore leather pads that were the size of my leg. Now they're like they fill up the whole
This
net.
is about goalies now. This is about the best. This is about the best in their respective sport. It's obviously Wayne Gretzky.
I disagree. I think it's Michael Jordan for sure. I mean, Michael Jordan was the man. He also
the
played
balls are
another
bigger,
sport. He was so
Jason.
good at basketball, he had to go play baseball.
Yeah, basketball nets are smaller. That's true.
Here, I'm on the wrong question. Sorry. Okay. So, I don't know. I think I'm going with Jody. He just was more convincing. All right. Goes to Jody. Okay. So that means we are tied again, 4-4, as we head into our final 2 rounds here of the speed round. Okay. Speed round history. Here we go. Which Canadian politician's image has been improved
Ford.
the most through COVID-19? Is it Justin Trudeau or is it Doug Ford?
Doug Ford.
I would have said Doug Ford too. Well, I'm going to take Justin Trudeau then.
Okay,
Doug
so
Ford, before this, I didn't like. I mean, I'm a postal worker. I thought he was going after unions, and he probably still will. But I just find his reputation has been greatly improved. I thought he was going to. I mean, when we look down south and we look at Trump in the States, I thought Doug Ford would be very similar in our province, and he's proven to not be like that at all. He seems to have a heart. He seems to care. He seems to be doing the right things and following protocol and really looking out for the lives of the people in Ontario. Whereas before, he seemed to care more about money, profits, and so he really improved his image for sure. If that's the main brunt of the question.
Yeah, who's improved their image? Okay, Trudeau. Why, Jody?
Trudeau has effectively made a country come together for the most part. I think Doug Ford is a guy who is taking clear advantage of a situation, and when this is all over, everybody's going to go back to hating Doug Ford pretty fucking quickly, because his views and everything are just fucking retarded. But Justin Trudeau, I think, has managed to make a cabinet that is dealing with situations correctly. He is still letting the individual provinces deal with things, which is very important. And if it wasn't for Justin Trudeau doing what he's doing, Doug Ford wouldn't be able to even get half the ground that he has right now.
Chris, I need an opinion here. Who do you feel made the stronger argument?
I feel that Jeff did, but I also think it was an easier argument to make. I mean, Doug Ford started down here at the bottom, so he only had somewhere up to go.
Not a very fair comparison.
Yeah, like at least Trudeau might have started here, and maybe he's up here now. But Trudeau didn't start at the bottom.
That was like the Ozzy Osbourne question. There was only one real way to win that one, and that was to yell out the answer first.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess the answer it goes to Jeff. So there we go.
And I would have argued Ozzy, by the way.
I know you would have.
No, there's no way.
I was expecting you to be in the speed round. Okay, that means Jeff is up by 1, so Jody has to take this one to tie it and force the tiebreaker for the overall win of today's match. Do I get to pick
the first one now?
Yeah, you pick it. That's fine. You can pick it.
So next round, here we go.
That's what we should do. We should alternate on the pick.
Speed round wildcard. What are you missing the most?
What kind of question is this?
What are you missing the most about, in this time when we're all locked down and we're all...
I thought it was supposed to be one or the other.
Can you do a new one? Can you give us another question with one or the other?
I can go with this, personally.
Okay, you can do whatever you want. All right.
I miss my social interaction with my friends. I miss going out and having a beer. I miss hanging out and shooting the shit in person and seeing the health and well-being of people. I miss not seeing everybody in pale face on a fucking webcam. That's what I miss.
I'm not that pale, am I?
We're all pale on a webcam. Look, I matched the fucking white background.
Okay.
I'm not that white.
I'll say I miss travel. I miss looking forward to a travel or a trip. I can still see you guys on the webcam, and I can still have some sort of human interaction and a conversation. I miss looking forward to going for a weekend trip or going for a week-long vacation to a resort. So that sort of a thing. Because I just love to travel, love seeing the world when I can.
I think friends are far more important than travel.
Yeah. Jody gets it. All right, that means we are
what do we do?
tied. Wow. Okay.
Do we just concede? We both?
Now we have a final tiebreaker. I need some help from the audience. I need a question for these two.
By the way, I
A
just
or
wanted to
a B.
acknowledge the question, the statement that was said by Ashley Millard. Gretzky didn't get his own movie. That's true, but Michael Jordan got Space Jam.
Yeah, and well,
True.
the documentary just came out about Michael Jordan too.
Yes, that's true. Anyway, I just thought that was a funny comment.
Here we go. So we got
Are we getting anybody?
not yet. We're waiting.
We're
We're
just in the holding pattern.
We're just waiting for
My legs
a
are cramping.
question.
Ugh.
Um,
We got something.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
was a
Ashley.
terrible
That was a
question.
terrible
I
we are
agree.
tied 6-6. Hey, sometimes the host isn't perfect. That's what can I tell you. But we need a better question, Ashley, and I'm looking to you. Come on, just throw it in the comments. We will throw it up screen, and we will have the final round.
Now,
Yeah,
when
Dave
it
is
shows up,
forced
I can
out.
answer, right?
Ashley, how about a supernatural question?
Yeah, come on, give us
Dave is
something.
fourth now. The Millards. You gotta love them.
They're probably like strategizing right now.
Not at all.
Thinking
I'm pretty sure Ashley probably already has a question. She's just typing it out.
All right, here we go.
Oh, well, that's an easy one.
It's coming from Jason.
That's
Here we
pie.
go.
100%.
The final question:
Pie.
pie or cake? Jody's
Pie.
going pie. Let's go.
Pie is delicious. It's like eating fucking jam sometimes. It can be pudding sometimes. It can be a whole bunch of things. Cake is just sponge shit. That's all it really is. Yeah, icing is great, but without the icing, who wants to eat cake? Okay? The entire pie is delightful. You could have lemon meringue pie. That's tasty. You could have pumpkin pie, which isn't even much of a, not even anything like lemon pie, but still fantastic. You can have a whole slew of pie. Strawberry pie, apple pie, you name it. You pick a fruit, you can put that fucker in a pie. You can't make a cake out of every fruit. Let's be honest.
Can you top
Pie
that,
is
Jeff?
delicious.
Can you beat that?
Jody kind of reminds me of Forrest Gump talking about shrimp. It's like your apple
There's
pie.
shrimp.
Your
There's
lemon pie,
barbecue
your
shrimp.
meringue
There's
pie.
their shrimp.
Everything you can have in a pie, you can have in a cake. Okay, let me
Yeah, but it won't taste good.
let me make my pitch here
Please.
for cake, because cake's always on the lower totem pole. I'd rather have pie, people say, but I don't say that. I say give me cake. You can have the lemon cake, you can have chocolate cake, black forest cake, red velvet cake.
How
You
many
can have all
people
sorts of
have
different
sung
types
to
of
you
icings.
when they give you a pie?
What do they
People
give you
sing
when
to
it's
you
your
when they
birthday?
give you cake. That is terrible.
What do they give you when it's your birthday, Jody? They give you a cake. They don't give you a
Yeah,
pie.
and then they
You
try
know
to
why?
sing to me.
Pie is
That's
not
garbage.
classy.
I'll take
It's not
a pie
class-
over a
messy
cake any day.
dessert, Jody. It's-
Cake is sponge shit. Exactly.
Well, that's what he's just quoting you.
It's a vessel for icing. That's all it is.
He
It's a
agrees.
vessel for icing.
You agree with yourself. I mean, we already knew this. So here's the deal with cake, okay? I'm just going to lay it out.
All right.
Cake is just delicious. You can just it just
Not as
it warms
delicious
your
as
heart.
pie.
It makes kids happy. How can you not love cake? I mean, it's got
You look at a happy kid after he's been given a cake and being sung to in a fucking
No,
restaurant,
no,
and you tell me how happy he is.
He doesn't want no
Who
gross
likes to get sung to
pie.
when they get a confection
You
like
give a
that?
kid a piece of pumpkin pie, he probably looks at you and go, "What the fuck is this?"
Well, if
Come
they
on.
don't like pumpkin pie, you give me a piece of pumpkin pie, I'm a happy fucking man. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm
And you know
saying.
what? Every pie is delightful.
Pie is limited. It's limited to.
Strawberry rhubarb pie, that's a good pie.
You can have a strawberry rhubarb cake. Everything you said about pie, you can have in a cake.
Have you ever had a
I'm
strawberry
gonna have to
rhubarb
bring this
cake?
down to you both need to come up with a respective pie and cake. You keep throwing off that there's so many possibilities, but I need to know what is the best cake, what is the best pie.
Go ahead, Jeff. What's the best cake?
Oh man, that's a tough choice. That's like saying, "What's your favorite song?"
Mm.
It's how. Okay, here's my. I have one other argument that I meant to make. When you turn on the Food Channel, okay,
Mhm.
you know how many shows there are about cake? There's
You
no
know how
show
easy-
about pie.
Pie?
There's Cake Boss. There's Cake Wars. Ace of Cakes. There's all these cake shows. There's no pie show because nobody cares about pie.
Is
Pie
there such a thing as a meat cake? Because there's meat
Yeah.
pies.
cheesecake. There's lots of different cakes.
You
There's-
can have pie for dinner, legitimately. You can't have cake for dinner, legitimately. What cake is there that's for dinner?
That's because it knows
Crab
its
cakes.
lane, Jody. It stays in the
No,
dessert
you can
lane.
have pie for everything.
Pie tries to
my friend.
masquerade itself in all sorts
You can
of
have pie
different
for
appetizers.
breakfast. You
and
can have pie
quiches,
for
and
lunch.
Be
You
what
can
you
have pie
are.
for dinner. You can
What
have
about
pie
pancakes?
for dessert. What?
Pancakes, yes.
Pancakes?
Oh, that's
Cakes.
barely a cake. Give me a break.
I mean, all I'm saying is that if we're gonna go cake or pie, I mean, cake's
It's clearly
the
pie.
more-
Who's
the
your
more
great
popular.
champion of the cakes, Jeff? I still
Yeah,
like
I
that.
still haven't
I'll
heard
put
anything.
Red Velvet. How's
He's
that?
just
Red
dancing around
Velvet
the
is my
edges.
champion.
Red velvet. Okay, red velvet cake. Okay, and Jody, what's the best of the
Red
pies?
velvet cake is the best cake.
All right.
Oh, it's
what he's
it's
saying.
Apple pie, brother. You can't find
Apple
anybody
pie.
who can't
Yeah, I
who
changed
doesn't
my
like
mind.
an apple pie. You can eat apple pie. You can fuck it in a movie. Apparently, there's a whole slew of things you can do. There's nothing better, and I quote, the nice warm feel of.
I
an
changed
apple
my
pie.
mind. I have the perfect cake, pumpkin cheesecake. It takes what pumpkin pie has and it turns it into a cake with cheese.
Cheesecake is only the name cake by definition. It is more closer to a pie than a cake.
It's
Let's
a
be
cake.
honest.
It says
It's
it's right
not
in
a
the
cake.
term.
Okay, Chris, I have to hear from you on this one, man. This is tough. I don't know if you have a preference yourself, but let's put your
Well,
own
let's be
personal
honest.
bias in.
Red velvet cake is really just chocolate cake with food coloring in it.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, look. Jason down in the comments. That is an excellent point.
Pies can be savory or sweet. It's a way more diverse food.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
It's true.
Actually, Jody said that I can fuck a pie but not a cake. So Jody wins.
I mean,
Yeah.
that should
That's
qualify
how I
him to
win?
win.
I don't know about that.
I gotta say here,
That kind of was.
That was just part of the rant, Chris. That wasn't really like an invitation or
you
anything.
can't feed a whole like, what do they have at a wedding? A pie? No, they have a
Yeah.
cake. You know, what do they have at a birthday party? A cake. What do they have? Any party situation with lots of people, it's a cake. Okay, they don't
This is
bring out
tough.
pies.
This is tough.
Pies are pies are only for, you know, a certain small amount of people, like a 5 people coming together. You have a nice, you know, baked pie. Okay, that's nice. That's cute. Okay, cake is for the masses. It's the Pepsi. It's the Coke of desserts.
Every time I think Jeff's out of this, he fights back.
I'll explain to you the worst thing about cake. Okay, you ready for it?
I'm ready.
That Christmas cake shit.
Oh, fruitcake. Oh, we
Like
didn't even
pound
mention
cake and all that stuff.
fruitcake.
Oh, garbage. Terrible garbage.
Fruitcake. You got.
When you think
you
of pie, do you ever think of a bad pie? Is there a bad pie? Is there such a thing as a bad pie?
I'm sure there's a bad pie. There's pie that people don't like.
I
There's
can think of a lot of
people
bad
don't
cakes, but I can't think of a lot of bad pies. I'm sorry. And you know what? Jason, again, I don't know who he is, but Jason perfectly explained it. It can be savory or sweet. It is a great vessel for distribution.
Okay, you wouldn't have a pizza cake, Jason, because cake knows to stay in its lane. Pie tries to be everything, okay? Stay in your lane,
And it
pie.
succeeds. That automatically wins it right there.
Stay in your lane.
It succeeds on everything. It's amazing.
You can't say, oh,
Fruitcake
everything's
is garbage.
pie.
It's
That's
over.
like all right, it's a casserole of pie. I guess that you could
The
say
winner goes to Jody. Here we go. Congratulations, Jody.
Barely.
Whoa.
Barely.
Here we go.
Good job, Jeff. Not so good job, Chris.
Cake is a hard one to argue for.
That is a really hard one to argue. That's why I grabbed pie as quick as I could.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't have chosen cake.
See, Dave's playing something, but nobody else can hear it.
It was turned. I had it not turned up very high. That's all.
Oh, okay.
It was the Final Fantasy victory music for you, Jody.
Anyway,
It was to celebrate,
I
celebrate
just-
your win.
I just got the stink eyes from the wife, so we've been
Is
running
she
too
pro
long.
cake? Is she pro cake?
What's that?
Is she pro cake?
I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't know.
Okay. Hey,
I believe she
I want to
enjoys
thank
both.
all of our panel today, everybody here. Chris, I'm sorry you didn't win a round. It was tough. These two were coming
kept the
vicious.
record, bro.
They came prepared. I wanted to, but they just had better arguments than you each time. So you know what? You win some, you lose some. It's all good. I appreciate the consigliere, and I thought this was so much fun trying this in a live format with people commenting in real time and being able to ask questions and make some counterpoints.
Cool.
This is a whole new type of trivial debates.
We got to get this
thank
Jason
you
guy on
all.
something.
We gotta get Jason. Well, Jason's gonna be on the Star Trek Deep Space Nine rewatch on Tuesday. We're doing the third episode, which is the one right after the pilot.
I'm not part of that, though. I want him on something I'm a part of.
Okay, wait, we'll get you. There's plenty of podcasts in here in the sea.
Let's get him on something.
We can do it all.
Let's get him on something.
Yeah, so where are my notes? Gotta find my notes.
You were pitching all the other podcasts you do.
All right. Well, hey,
tomorrow.
I'm thanking everybody. I wanted to say, hey, we're back. Trivial Debates is back. I haven't polled the group too much yet, but I'm thinking that this is a once a month because this is like a 2.5 hour podcast every time we do it. So maybe it doesn't really suit in once a week. So let us know if you want to be part of the next Trivial Debates. One of these three will be the host of that next session. They got some time to think about their questions. Whoever wants it, just let me know.
I'll take it.
Jody. Well, Jody is taking the reins as the next host of Trivial Debates. We'll get that on the books fast. Make sure to subscribe to our Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel. We have a few other social outlets like Twitter and things like that we're going to get back up and running, get the audio feed going. And just to call out, we also have some other podcasts. So we have our Star Trek rewatch podcast over on a channel called Live Long in Podcasts. So that's includes all of Star Trek Picard. We had finished up the first season. Now we're doing like a Deep Space Nine rewatch. Jeff's leading that over there on Live Long in Podcasts on Tuesdays. We're doing original series rewatch episodes with Ted Mader, our father, often on Fridays. You can check that out. We also have Super Mader Brothers podcasting. That's where we cover TV movies not Star Trek related and not debate related. So that's we're in the middle of Westworld season 3 and Survivor season 40, which is all winners. We also have other things like Tiger King reviews and a whole bunch of stuff over there that you can check out, and it just keeps growing. So thank you for watching this week's edition of Trivial Debates, and thank you for staying loyal all these years on our Facebook page. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the comments. Thanks to the new fans, all of you. We love it. We love it. Don't we all? Don't we love it, everybody?
Oh yes, 100%.
Oh, love it.
So we'll go clockwise here, guys.
Ooh.
I'm Dave Mader.
That
goes to you, Jody. You're the next.
Oh, we're
clockwise.
going clockwise. Oh, I thought you said
Yes.
counterclockwise. All right. I'm Jody.
I'm Chris.
Jeff Mader.
If you didn't know that from the title down there, but I don't know why I have to say that. But
Because this is an audio podcast too, Jody.
oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about our audio people that listen.
If you got to the end of this podcast and didn't know our names by now, God bless you.
If you got to the end of this podcast, you're a trooper.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We're going to be signing off for now. Make sure to check in for the next edition, Trivial Debates, and Chris will be hosting. Oh, Jody will be hosting. Sorry. I was looking at Chris.
Maybe
All
we
right.
should let
Take
Chris
care,
host.
everybody.